be home for Christmas. I promise.
I am not a bounty hunter. I remember this. I still know Kung Fu.
Come on, we're gonna get sued here.
Sue me for what?
You missed this, don't you?
You heard it up top. Another year, another normie. That's right. It's Normies Like Us. We're doing a Whatcha special 178 post New Year's as we move into the normiest of New Year's. That's right. Here on Normies Like Us. With your hosts, the one time we get to actually just say our name and introduce ourselves. It's Colin.
It's Mike.
Just Joe.
And this is Baby New Year, a.k.a. Jacob19, a.k.a. the Jacob Cron variant.
Oh, no. Wow. No.
Oh, no, the New Year's deadly?
He's going to infect you with all kinds of pop culture knowledge and fun facts throughout this episode.
I'm the best variant. So.
Normicron? Yeah, got it. Well, hopefully everyone's staying healthy and safe out there as much as possible in these crazy times. But yeah, we're here to catch up. It's been a while since we've done one of these after doing Lords of November and Unexpected December.
It has, Mike. We wrapped up a very beautiful 20th anniversary special. We did one of our patented end of the year like series coverages, Lord of the Rings, Your Beautiful Baby. But we're in a Whatcha now, about to talk our normie pop culture, what we've been watching, what we've been reading, listening to, just consuming in general, hanging out, getting to know us as the hosts, your boys, your normies. And you say it's been a while. Now, guys, I want to point out, our last Whatcha, episode 160, okay, the episodes we've done since then, we've covered a lot of things. The one before that, we did He-Man. He-Man Part 2 is come and gone. We might talk about that in this episode.
Oh, yeah,
wow.
Man. So that's how far back. Jeez.
Halloween. All of Lords of November. We did a sneak Spider-Man episode in the middle of all that. And somehow we've still been enjoying things that we haven't been doing just for this podcast.
That's true. There are things that have come out in this last couple of months that, big things that we'll probably jump into that we just haven't had a chance because we said, you know what, let's commit to 9 and or 10 episodes on J.R. Tolkien's work. And during that time, a lot of things have happened, and we're jumping into all that and finding out what we've each been keeping ourselves entertained with outside of episode content as we do. So,
That's right.
As we do, without further ado, shall we do the Mountain Dew Extreme, crack open this episode and take a sip right after this. Normies Like Us.
We're back. It's Whatcha here. Talking Whatcha on Normies Like Us, episode 178. Can you believe it? Like we said, another year down. And we're just going to be diving right in.
Yeah, I mean, basically another year goes by. We kind of looking back at what we've enjoyed that we haven't covered on the show, and then maybe at the end look at what might be upcoming that we're looking forward to, especially in these times, so we have something to look forward to. Is there any particular order? We just start throwing stuff out there. I mean, is it free
Mike,
for
hit
all?
us.
Well,
Whatcha? Oh,
Well, I just
Jacob.
want to say we should say some of these things we are going to
Yes.
have a cover on a full episode, right? So like
Very true.
M4 tricks, you might call it. Dune, we're planning to do an episode on. So we can mention these ones briefly, but yeah.
Yeah, we probably won't do a deep dive into many of these. More of a, did you like it? Do you recommend it? We don't want to get into spoilers with a lot of this stuff because some of it we haven't all watched and maybe you haven't watched either. And depending on your feedback, if you ask for one of these things, maybe it will become an episode even if we're not planning on it. So go ahead and let us know, what you enjoyed throughout this.
But I guess you have the power.
You know what, Joe? And that's a perfect transition to something we mentioned up top. He-Man Revelations Part 2. Saw it. No spoilers. Loved it. If they would have released it at the same time, I think, Joe, you said, there wouldn't have been any complaints.
I do. I think, Part 2, I absolutely enjoyed just as much as Part 1. I think if you would have just released it as one piece, you probably would have saved like a lot of upset man babies from being upset.
Maybe.
Yeah. But
I really,
some people just like to complain.
They do. That is true. But I think a lot of the complaints look extra silly in retrospect after watching Part 2. Like if you would have just waited a couple weeks, man.
Yeah, but did you guys both see it? Colin and Jacob watch the Revelations?
I have not watched it yet.
Okay, well, I would highly recommend it, especially after that cliffhanger Part 1. One of the, I think, best cliffhangers in kind of media, especially when I have such a limited knowledge of He-Man. Seeing the way this Part 2 resolves everything and twists and turns, blah, blah, it's excellent. I think everyone needs to give lay off Kevin Smith a little bit. He made a good thing here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never doubted him.
Okay.
I'm definitely
Me
going to check
either.
that out. That's on my list to do for sure.
All right, Colin, you asked me, so then let me ask you what you've been watching, and then you throw it to somebody else who hasn't been asked. That'll be the game.
Will we do an episode on it? I wonder, because it was a big moment. It's been a minute since the movement. Squid Game, and I never even got the answer of did we all do it? Did we all watch Squid Game?
Yeah, I watched it right as it was hitting peak popularity. Everyone was talking about it. Yeah. You're like, what's Squid Game? What's this all about? It's got squids in it. Who knows?
And games.
But,
I was very concerned about that.
and I thought at the time we could do an episode on it, but it might be a little past relevancy
It might be
now.
past.
I'm thinking it was like the biggest Netflix show ever. I haven't seen anything but the first episode because
Wow.
I like to watch stuff sometimes when I'm working, and I'm not going to watch it dubbed, and I have conversational Korean skills, not to toot my own horn, but I can't watch Squid Game on a second screen. Like, you really need to be paying attention to it, and
You got to be on it.
I haven't been afforded that time, but I
definitely,
do need to finish it.
I would definitely recommend not watching the dub, which I think is what Netflix plays on default. So a lot of people might not know. Turn off the dub and put subs on because it's a much better experience.
When
that
I
way.
started
What's
episode
wrong
1,
with
it was
the dub, Jacob? 69. That's a number I would like.
to be. Yeah, it was in English when I started it up by default, so that's probably a mistake.
Really?
Yeah, but Joe, did you see any of this?
I watched the first 2.5 or 3. I watched till okay, this is what the plot is now. I get it, and then I kind of fell off of it.
Gotcha.
Maybe I started. It's the same thing that happened with Napoleon Dynamite for me, where it was just too late, man. I watched it 2 or 3 weeks after peak Squid Gamedom, and I was over it already.
Well, Joe,
all the white
good
vans
news
had
is,
been purchased. They were sold out everywhere, and it was like,
Yeah. I mean, the good news is they are making a season 2. I think they just signed, made a deal for a season 3. So it's not going away anytime soon. It's not a one-hit wonder. Although I'm not sure how much more story there is to tell in season 2, but we'll see how it goes. But
it's a Stranger Things, it's good as 1, but let's ruin it a little bit,
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll see what
It could be
happens.
worse.
On the note
It
of
could be
ruining it a
worse.
bit, Mike, I have to ask you, if we're not going to do an episode on it, will we get the eventual American recess or dodgeball, the thing that people have been throwing out?
Yeah. I wonder because now in this world where you can just be like, yep, Parasite wins an Academy Award, and we have stuff in Spanish trending on Netflix. It's like people are more willing, I think, to give that stuff a go, in its native language, or at least watch a dub or whatever.
They still remake BBC shows in America, Mike. We're
I hate
adapting stuff where we speak the same language.
Well, that's because Bake Off is a trademark term, so we have to call it the British Baking
Great
Show.
American.
That's a trademark issue. Yeah, that's not even a
My opinion
localization
is-
Great
issue.
American Bake Off.
I hate all these English language adaptations that don't change anything. I don't mind adaptations as a concept, but Old Boy, stuff like that. It's just watch the original.
Isn't Departed a way to do it right?
Departed is because it's not
Maybe the
just a
only
straight
way.
remake. Scorsese
inspired,
made it his own thing.
Completely
Yeah.
adapted, yeah. Old Boy's bad.
Yeah.
So I hope they don't ruin it, Colin, but you know what? You never know.
And there are,
Well, let me
but
just
they're already
say,
talking about, go ahead.
no, it's the same platform that has a Death Note, so who knows?
Yeah. Well, that's
true.
the thing is anything that gets big enough that's a foreign film or TV show, they talk Parasite. There were talks about making an English language Parasite. They're Train to Busan. They're making an English version of that.
Train to San
so-
Francisco? What the hell is that going to be?
Yeah, who knows?
What
But
are
they're
you
literally
cowboy bebopping about, Jacob? Come on. I don't think Netflix is going to
That's
run
a whole other
anything
thing
into the
too. Yeah.
ground.
I think that's a
Wow.
segue, my friends.
Yeah.
I think it's time. Bebop. Joe did it to us.
Didn't
Joe,
watch it.
did you watch Bebop?
Did sorry, I did, and you know what? I thought it was fine, and I think people who complain more about it are gatekeeping, and I don't like gatekeeping.
Well, here's where I'm
It's-
coming from.
It's,
Yeah.
it's high budget cosplay with fine performances and an interesting production style. Watch the original or watch this. It
My
doesn't
problem
matter.
is okay, my problem is I'm sure it's just fine. Like I'm sure it's not terrible, but there's no reason for it to exist. The original exists and you can watch it. If you just prefer live action to animation, I guess that's one reason, but that's stupid because you can do so many things in animation that you can't really do in live action. And you know, my personal take is I haven't watched it not because I have some kind of vendetta against it, but I just don't feel the need to. And it already got canceled, so it's like now it's like what's even the point?
So that
I
makes
feel
me
like
sad.
it. Like, look, here's my counterpoint to why does it need to exist? Cowboy Bebop doesn't need to exist. It's an anime, not a fucking vaccine, man. Like, it has no reason
Right,
to
but-
exist either. Like, I just feel like it was prejudged. They should have just announced that it was going to be like a one and done thing once everyone was like, we hate it. Because
But it wasn't
like,
it wasn't planned to be a one and done thing. They just canceled it because it didn't do well with the audiences, I guess.
them.
Money.
Well, so they're kind of two sides of the same coin. This, will we do an American adaptation of, a foreign property? That's exactly what Cowboy Bebop was, right? As Joe alluded to. But the does it need to exist argument, like does Josh Brolin's Old Boy need to exist? In my mind, no. But in the case of Cowboy Bebop, live action, in a world of multiverses and multiple Spodermen and what ifs, I say, yeah, I was totally fine with it existing. It's just, here's these characters in like a different live action universe with a slightly different plot. And I'm like, it was fun. Some of the action was fun. Yeah, watch the show if you like it. But I enjoyed seeing an earnest attempt that felt like they cared about the characters at adapting them.
Now watch this, because I have to do a magic trick transition to a third Netflix thing with this same conversation.
Yes.
I've seen so many assholes online just done with Witcher this season, where they just go, if you've changed one thing, it's over. And it is a toxic thing, and I'm certainly not saying you would even be close to being in that camp, Jacob. I'm not even saying I don't agree with what these people are saying, but it is crazy. Speaking of the does it deserve to exist, if it does, shouldn't it be different?
Well, okay, Witcher is interesting because I have very mixed feelings about it, because there are some things about this new season that I did really like and some things that I really did not like. So it's a mixed bag for me. It definitely, yeah, like you said, it's two sides of the same coin. You don't want it to be exactly the same, but if you change certain aspects of the story and make it worse, that's not good either.
You've ruined it.
Yeah, I don't know if I can still separate in my mind like the games, the books, the show, like they're different worlds. I understand that, but I guess certain elements of the story, I just don't like what they've done with it. And it's not that they've changed certain things, although that is an aspect that I don't like. It's just that if you're going to change something and I don't like it, then I'm not going to like it, I guess.
Yeah, if you change it, I don't like it. I'm not going to like it.
Well, you haven't changed it for the better. You've changed it for the worse.
Yeah, like sometimes you swing the bat and you strike out, right? They make an attempt like Death Note, and it just doesn't work. So
my thing with Cowboy Bebop is mainly that the original is so good. So many people who've never seen it, their first introduction to Cowboy Bebop will be this live action show. They might not even know that the anime exists, and they might never see it, and that's kind of a shame in my.
But they might have never seen it anyway if it didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Alternatively, I know two people who don't watch anime at all who are now more interested in Cowboy Bebop because of the live action thing. So
that's true. Yeah, it goes both ways, I guess.
Yeah.
With The Witcher, I just want to say, like, I don't totally hate it. There are some elements of this season that I really did like.
Very
everything
handsome man leads that cast.
Everything with Ciri and Geralt fighting monsters, doing that kind of shit. That was great. Kind of everything
Daddy
else
Potter
I
monsters.
didn't love about the rest of the season.
Got it. All right. Well, Joe, fantasy expert, have you tossed a coin to The Witcher season 2 yet, or no?
I have not. I was gonna. Do you guys think I should? Like, my read on season 1 was like, that didn't need to be told the way it was told, and it was confusing. No. But I guess that was cool.
It's easier to follow because they're not separate timelines now.
It's more linear now. Yeah, it's
more
together.
linear. Although Yennefer's story is still like completely separate from Geralt's, which is really annoying because like everything that I like the actress that plays Yennefer, and I really liked her in the first season. Everything they did with Yennefer this season, I thought was weirdly bad. So I don't know.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, for me, I think I was texting Colin off pod, and I was like, I'm loving it. I'm loving the season, but it was largely anything with Ciri and Geralt and the Yennefer stuff I was a little colder on. And it's such a tricky thing because it's supposedly based on the book, but visually it's very much based on the game that they technically don't have the rights to. And that's already an adaptation that people are familiar with and are going to be like, you changed that, but that was already different from the book. And it's like, it's
Right.
already going to be so different.
Well, they're changing things that have from both the book and the show, but the game.
Right. That's why it's such a tricky kind of proposition,
The
because
thing
there's
is with the
expectation
game-
from multiple angles.
Yeah, the game takes place chronologically after all of the books. So they're adapting the story from the novels, which is the whole series story. The game, The Witcher 3, and the other Witchers takes place after that story. So it's interesting.
How they're combining all of those kind of.
Yeah. It's more, I don't know if they have too much of the game stuff. It's more just kind of the aesthetics, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, for me,
I recommend it. Personally, I like it. Joe, I know you're not crazy about fantasy, but I do think the monster hunting stuff, I know you like Supernatural, and like that's kind of the cool thing about a Witcher is like, what am I hunting? How do I defeat it? And so I think those elements are the strongest. And if you like that, I would recommend it.
Is there more monster hunting in season 2 than there was in season 1?
Real quick on that. A lot less. Joe, here's my take on it. I really only liked one episode. I liked the first episode. It's a Beauty and the Beast through like a Polish lens. You would really like that episode.
And that one was based on one of the short stories, because the first book of the Witcher series was actually a collection of short stories. But I think there's a lot of the whole Ciri training, because like they go to Kaer Morhen, they do the whole Ciri training.
And light on plot, obviously, for the normies out there. But yeah, we know she's getting trained from the trailer, so that's all good.
Yeah. I think there's a divide, really. If you look online, fans of The Witcher, the show, the game and the books, are generally don't like it very much, but people who are not familiar with the source material like it more. So I think the divide is there, that it's like, as a sort of generic fantasy show, it's good and it's well made, but as an adaptation of The Witcher, it's less good.
Okay. No, I still enjoyed it, and I haven't played the game or read the books, and it does, similar to Cowboy Bebop live actioners, I do have a renewed sense of like wanting to play the game or check out the books. Like I do want to dive into that world more. So at least the show is doing that for some people.
I just want to say, a lot of that I think falls on the showrunner, not super popular with Witcher diehard fans online. She has made some changes that kind of rub people the wrong way, and it seems almost like she's not as big of a fan of The Witcher. She just wanted to take the Witcher branding and make her own show. So however you feel about that, I don't know, but I would say check it out. It is easier to follow plot-wise than season 1, just because of the single timeline kind of thing.
It's a little more cleaned up. I like how there's a line in the show, I won't spoil it, but they kind of acknowledge that in one of the songs.
Yes.
Like, it was a little confusing, but anyway.
And one last thing I just want to say as well is the effects are pretty good this year.
They're pretty damn good, yeah.
It seems like the budget was higher and the effects are really good, yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
And people are going to fight about it on the internet regardless. And speaking of fighting, I have another Netflix show that has just came back, and this is going back to one of my moments I'm most proud of on this podcast personally, is being able to at least show some part of the world the magic that is Terry Silver in Karate Kid Part 3. And so Cobra Kai
Sensei
Season
Mike.
4, yes.
Sensei Mike. Thank you for opening our eyes.
Yes, so now that we all know that Terry Silver is one of the most underrated cinematic villains in history, he finally makes his glorious comeback in Season 4 of Cobra Kai. I just finished it before this recording, and I absolutely love it. Terry Silver is back. If you don't know who he is, watch Karate Kid 3. Get ready, because it is glorious. I full recommend, but I am a biased Karate Kid, like diehard fan, but I love it.
I haven't seen it yet. It's definitely on my list. I kind of forgot when it was coming out, but I think I've mentioned on this podcast before how much I've enjoyed Cobra Kai and how much I got into the previous seasons. And then we watch, Karate Kid 3. So I'm definitely excited to see Terry Silver in the new season. So I definitely will be checking that out very soon.
Joe, have you caught up on any Cobra Kais or?
I have not. No, I am like a yellow belt, I guess, right?
That means you've probably watched 1 and 2.
A white belt.
Yeah.
None.
You've at least seen the original Karate Kid. That'll give you a yellow, and then probably seeing the sequel would be a blue belt. Yeah.
No, yellow or blue. I don't know.
All right.
somewhere around there. Three Ninjas isn't in that franchise, so
No, but that earns you a belt though. That's a separate one, but it's a
It
very
does.
coveted
separate
one.
That's
Yeah.
Taekwondo.
Yeah, that's right. But I like it. And I'm just going to say, for the record, I think if you know the lore of the movies and the characters, the way the writers utilize these arcs season to season to kind of put the chess pieces on place for like the most interesting scenario, it's one of the best written shows on TV. Like if you're a Karate Kid head, it is so well done. And this season is no exception.
It's insane because I never would have expected out of all the movies franchises in the
to
world
get a reboot that would work.
You know, a 4-season now show, probably going to be 5 seasons. Who knows how long it will go on for? An extended universe, like, you know, way bigger, you know, franchises like Star Wars have tried similar things like this and failed. So
yeah, Karate Kid, you know, won't go down without a fight. And they did confirm season 5. You know, that's not a spoiler. They are continuing. You know, so more karate. Kia.
Yeah, definitely check that out. Great stuff.
Yeah. Anything on the Netflix front, or do we jump to other streamies? I think we've been streaming a lot. Surprise, everyone who lives at home and been at home for 2 years.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Well, if you want to jump from Netflix to HBO, I have a show that I've been watching for the past several years, that is called Succession.
Succession.
You guys know about this show?
The show of the year, you fucking bastard. That's how they talk to each other on that show.
That's right.
Fuck off.
So Succession, if you don't know, it's a show on HBO. I don't, you know, appointment viewing for me, like every week viewing, is not something I normally have done in the past couple of years. I think Game of Thrones was the last big show where it's like every Sunday night I'd be like, all right, it's Game of Thrones time. Succession for me has been that show for the last couple of years. Every Sunday night I'm like, gotta watch the new episode of Succession. It is, I'm not exaggerating, the best written show on TV. I think it has been.
No, because not Cobra Kai. No.
Well, yeah, maybe Cobra Kai is a close second.
They could be buddies. They can share the trophy.
But Succession, it's a hard show to describe why it's good, because if I just describe the plot, it doesn't sound that good. But it is, because it's so well written. The characters are so well defined, and the power dynamics and relationships between characters are so good that it keeps you invested. And it's a little bit, it's kind of a soap opera-y thing. It's kind of like Dallas or something. Well, let me explain the basic plot. Basically, it's based on a Rupert Murdoch type media icon, figurehead and his family of children who are all kind of fucked up in their own way, have different like issues. But it's all about them trying to vie for power and be the next in line when their father, who's old and has a variety of health issues, dies. Because they're part of
takes over Fox News.
Yeah, there's a lot of it's a power struggle. It's a Game of Thrones, you know, but in a modern setting, right?
Very heavy on the kind of political intrigue of Game of Thrones with less of the violence, right?
Which is weirdly all that applies to Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Hey, could I just one more for that before I give you the whole floor?
How dare you, Mike.
Because of the writing, just because of the writing, what I like least about Cobra Kai is the karate. Like I like the character moments.
Oh my God, Mike!
I'm not lying.
We will be doing an episode, Normies.
Okay.
Do not worry.
No,
Jacob,
I definitely agree
sorry.
with you, Mike.
I cede the floor.
I
secede it.
Well.
Yeah.
But Succession. So, if you don't know, the showrunner. So it was executive produced by Adam McKay, but the showrunner, the guy who really oversees most of the creative decisions, is this guy named Jesse Armstrong. He's a British guy. He had this show called Peep Show that I loved back in the day. Have you heard of that?
It's excellent. I've seen all of it. Yeah.
Yes,
comedy.
Yes. So he created Peep Show, which is it's a comedy about two guys, and the reason it's called Peep Show is because it all takes place in a POV of one of the two characters, so it's always the camera's a POV. But it's one of the best written. They just get in these awkward situations, and he's really good at that style of comedy. Succession is like a drama, but it's like a dark comedy. Like there's a mixture of drama and dark comedy. But it's a satire of the super rich, you know, basically all these characters are terrible people in their own ways, but yet you can't help but like some of them at different points in time because they are sometimes charming, sometimes relatable, but then you remember they're all terrible fucking rich people. But the last season has just been so good. I think season 2 was awesome as well, but the last couple of episodes of season 3 is just like insanely good, like must-watch television for me.
Wow.
Now, real quick,
watch.
Joe loves Kieran Culkin. And I know Mike loves Macaulay Culkin. Which Culkin is this?
It's Kieran Culkin.
This is. I thought this was Rory. Maybe even the last one. It's Kieran.
Yeah,
don't watch
Kieran
this show?
Culkin
Yeah.
was in Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, I was going to say of Scott Pilgrim fame. Yes.
Yeah, but this is probably his biggest role of his life now.
Wow.
But the one everyone really loves is Kendall Roy, played by I am blanking on his name right now.
Maniac. Jeremy Strong.
Jeremy
Absolute
Strong.
maniac.
This New Yorker profile about him came out. He's like this insane method actor who like idolizes Daniel Day-Lewis, and the whole thing with him is he's not in on the joke. Like everyone knows it's a dark comedy. He plays it completely straight, like it's Shakespeare or something, and that's why his character is so compelling.
No.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. And then you have side characters like Tom and Greg who are just hilarious. Like the show is so well cast, so well written. You wouldn't think you would be interested in it, but you are because it's just so well made.
I'm not.
Huh. You wouldn't think you are, but Jacob's telling you that you are. So
not.
Normies,
That's right.
go check it
I'm
out.
not, Mike.
Give it a
Must
chance.
watch TV.
It's one of the most critically acclaimed shows on TV, but it doesn't have the audience that some of these other shows have because it seems like it wouldn't be that interesting. Or I don't know why. I just know that like I love it, but a lot of my friends either don't watch it or haven't even heard of it. So
Yeah, it's like, rich children are vying for who gets to inherit the company. Okay, I've seen that in like 12 Korean dramas and like 6 other American shows.
I've seen that in my life. I
Yeah.
faced it in this dark dystopia where our planet's exploding.
Yeah,
but I think what this one causes this one to rise above that kind of thing is because of just the dialogue, the crisp writing. Like it's just so
the quality of the
you know?
craft. Nice.
Yeah.
You don't even
Sing.
want to watch the karate, Jacob. You're all about the drama.
That's right.
Yes,
you even have
yes.
minor characters. Like one of the sons is played by the friend from Ferris Bueller, Alan Ruck. So it's just a lot
Cameron?
of people. Yeah,
One of
Cameron.
the sons is?
Yeah, the oldest son, Connor Roy, is played by Alan
He's a
Ruck.
very old man.
Yeah.
So that's how his
Yeah,
dad
and
had that
Brian
Ferrari.
Cox
He's a big
is
business
the,
guy.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
It was
Cox,
Brian
of course, is the patriarch of the whole family, and he just kills it. So definitely strong recommend for that
I might
one.
take that under advisement. While we're on HBO, Joe, do you have any HBO shows thrown at you or movies?
Yeah, I watched The Matrix. You guys want to talk about The Matrix real quick? Did everyone watch that?
Yeah, I watched it the other day. Finally.
Portrix.
I feel like we'll probably, dive into that at some point. So like just surface level. Did not care for it. Here's my
divisive.
one-line thesis statement. The first one is smarter than anyone thought it was. This one isn't as smart as it thinks it is.
I have a one-line thesis for this too. It is best Matrix sequel.
Yeah, sure. It's still garbage.
Here's the thing:
but,
everything about it is inferior to the original, but I feel like that's almost on purpose. Like we see, it's kind of meta, and so like it depends on how much of that was intentional. How much of it being worse than the Matrix was intentional, and if it was
hard to
all,
figure out,
it might be smart. But
It's,
anyway,
I mean, the
it's fine.
thesis of the whole movie is stated like by the characters. Like, basically, okay, so people think it's a movie about how you shouldn't make sequels and reboots, but it's actually a movie by Lana Wachowski about how you shouldn't make a Matrix sequel without Lana Wachowski. And I think that's the whole point that some people are not understanding.
Okay.
Because there's a line there where Bugs says like, they took something precious for us and turning us into, I don't remember the exact line, but essentially they tried to commodify something that was precious to the Wachowskis.
But it's commentating also generally on the unnecessary sequel-itis of Hollywood. As we said, it's not ruined yet. Let's do another season.
Yes.
Colin, what do you think about The Matrix?
My feelings, unfortunately, are too complex to list out outside of an actual episode on The Matrix because I just keep ruminating on this thing. I will, however, make a point with what Jacob just said and remind everyone, this is not the first movie with The Matrix and Bugs that came out this year. If you all recall, The Matrix was a very big part of Space Jam: The New Legacy.
Yes.
Does this film not feel like revenge to Warner Brothers for doing that to them? That literally they have a character in this movie named Bugs who says, like the bunny, and at one point also says, "What's up, Doc?" to a character.
Well, they say right in the beginning, basically, if we didn't make this movie, they were going to make it anyway without us. I think that's the whole point. Is like, if you're going to make it, we want to be like in
I will
control of what they
destroy
have.
you.
Yeah,
I will
well-
destroy you for making me do
Yeah,
this.
I don't know. I don't know if a 2.5 hour temper tantrum's worth it to me.
I love it.
It's hilarious,
I liked it.
and I high recommend watching it. But I thought that movie was trash.
It's very
Here's my
lacking
my-
visually, and action is lacking. Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
my one
I-
line.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a thesis?
It
Sorry.
should have just been Granny in the beginning. Like that
Should
would
have
have
just
made it
been
actually
Granny.
better to me.
Yes, that's
Hey,
true.
Sam.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
Speedy
can give my,
Gonzalez.
my brief opinion on it. Basically, I have very mixed feelings, like Colin, I think. But overall, I liked it. There's a lot going on, and I'm not sure I liked it all, but there was enough in it that I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like one moment, I'd be like, oh, that's interesting, and the next moment, I'd be like, well, that's fucking stupid, and then the next
It's
one, I'd be like, "Well, that's
hilarious.
interesting." Yeah,
Pretty much,
And
yeah.
you should definitely watch it. But
I like the first
hated
third
it.
was the best for me, and then after that, it was less interesting. But I thought the first third was really interesting with Neo living in like this new Matrix where he created the Matrix. It's very meta, obviously, but I liked the whole satire of Hollywood and all that.
I think
stuff.
it's just fascinating that somebody spent $200 million to basically make fun of their parent company. And that
Yeah.
is just funny to me. And so I appreciate it.
And
I
fuck
love
you,
that.
Warner
Yes, I
Brothers.
love that
Fox.
aspect.
Family Guy did that on Fox for 10 years, guys.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
Simpsons.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
Family
know.
Guy
It's
did it.
definitely worth a full episode, I think. I think we'd have to
Yeah.
really dive into it.
Biggest
though.
issue, though, that's not plot centric. And Warner Brothers, hit me up. I'm available for marketing freelance. You did not call it M4 Tricks. Okay? Like,
Agreed.
and then the Matrix Resurrections underneath. Like H2O, Halloween H2O. I'm talking directly to the camera so the Warner Brothers execs,
Well,
Yeah.
Mike,
Yeah.
we've
taking
talked
notes.
Make it
so
happen.
many legacy sequels this year. We
Yeah.
did the Halloweens this year, which had Joe was the master of time and space for us, reminding us what counted and what didn't. You were
Yes.
just talking about Cobra Kai, a show that feels like Karate Kid Part 4 finally exists, right?
Not the new Karate Kid, but actually part 4, yeah.
Yes, the actual Karate Kid Part 4.
Yeah.
This is obviously the direction of the industry.
Even
and,
Space Jam: A New Legacy is that.
Terrifying.
Oh,
Even Space Jam:
and a
A New Legacy
tie-in.
is nuts.
Jacob, you said this is what, it's like Lana Wachowski saying, this is, I need to make this movie. If you're going to make it, I might as well be a part of it, right?
Yeah.
Well, we saw Peter Jackson do that with The Hobbit, and it was pretty disastrous. So,
That's right. But do you think it would have been better without Peter Jackson? It probably would have been worse.
I don't even want to
I
imagine
think it would
a
have been
worse one.
better if they had given him more money to say "I hate you." If he had
Yeah.
incorporated
Yeah.
the message of "fuck you." So
Yeah.
Yeah.
wink.
The Necromancer is just the head of New Line now.
And the other thing with the Matrix is that, obviously we know that there's certain elements of allegory of trans people and that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
then we see, who has co-opted some of the terminology of the Matrix. It's these right-wing people with the red pill and all that kind of stuff. So it's almost them wanting to take back their own, universe and mythos. So I respect that element of it too.
Yeah.
And
It's
Jacob-
definitely fascinating. Go ahead, Colin.
I was just gonna say, beyond that, if you guys recall, this is the horrible world we live in. I don't remember if we did it in our Matrix episode, which again we did. Go back and listen. 3 Matrix movies in one episode before our last Whatcha. So
That's right.
or since our last Whatcha. So it's been a while, guys. I don't know if we mentioned in that or not. Columbine, the shooting, was blamed on the Matrix happening. So
Right,
you're
trench
talking about
coats.
reclaiming stuff, the trench coat mafia, and they had claimed that they were inspired by that movie. I guess people did find out, but yeah, Jacob, there's a lot that they need to take ownership to, and it is. If I was Lana Wachowski, I completely understand stepping away from this world and just not being interested in doing anything. And I think it's really brave what was made. And I'm sorry I am getting heated about it because I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Well, there's a
No.
lot to talk about. That's why we should
Yeah.
maybe do a full episode.
Yeah, we'll probably do
down
a full
the
thing
line.
because there's a legacy with this thing, and it's dealing very much with that. But I have another
Space
thing.
Jam: New Legacy.
Yeah, Space Jam: New Legacy. That we did an episode on that, so might as well do the Matrix.
Go back and listen.
We mentioned on
Bring it
Peter
up.
Jackson keeping it HBO before the big one, which will be an episode. I'll let Jacob tee that up next. The Beatles documentary. Did y'all watch this? I watched the entire
Yeah, that was
thing.
on Disney Plus.
not.
but,
Oh no.
Yeah.
Boop, 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 boop.
That's okay though.
It works,
you know,
Meg. It works.
We're
It's
fine.
another streamer. I did watch all of it. Like the day it came out. Well, they came out like one episode a day for like 3 days. But
Yes.
I had to watch it. You know, growing up, I was a huge Beatles fan. Not gonna lie, was a big Beatles fan when I was a kid. So I definitely kind of devoured any kind of behind the scenes thing with them. I even read a book when I was younger that was written by one of their audio engineers when they made some of their best albums. That was very interesting, give a kind of glimpse behind the scenes. But this is like the most we've seen, because it's just like hours and hours of footage of them rehearsing and just talking and all that stuff. And it was super interesting to me.
There was a documentary, Jacob, and this is the leftover footage from all of that was not used.
When they were making Let It Be, their last album, they were also simultaneously shooting this documentary by Michael Lindsay Hogg, who's a character in this documentary. He's like the director guy. So but basically that movie kind of showed them as more of a divisive, like a lot of infighting and stuff, which did happen, but it kind of played up the drama between the members, and they weren't super happy with the finished product. So Peter Jackson took all these hours and hours of footage and maybe made a more complete picture of who they were as a band at that time.
It's almost like it has no narrative arc. It's literally just like days playing out as they're working on this album and figuring out what day should we do the concert? Should we do 2 concerts? Yeah. Where should we do it? And it's just like a fly on the wall kind of perspective. And it is very, very, very interesting.
They had all these ideas about, maybe we'll do it in the desert or whatever. Like the director's really pushing for that. And eventually they put it off for so long, they just ended up going up on the roof and doing a couple songs on the roof, and that's like their famous rooftop concert.
Why.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's the last time they ever played live together. They broke up about 6 months later. So very interesting stuff there.
They make a Yoko reference that people are going to be saying down the road that the Beatles broke up because Yoko sat on an amp. That's in the trailer. It's very interesting to see her literally.
They say that?
Yeah.
Paul says that when
Wow.
John's out of the room.
It's like the most polite infighting you'll ever see, because they're all a bunch of British guys that are all just like,
oh, hello,
passive aggressively, making comments to each other. George is not happy because he feels kind of sidelined by the whole McCartney-Lennon songwriting duo. George was coming into his own as a songwriter at this point and just trying to get his material on the albums. He was like really frustrated. And then Paul was a very kind of overbearing play and that kind of thing. So
it's very interesting to see that dynamic, especially when there's famous songs like Let It Be, or seeing them take shape and like, oh, that's not the right lyric, and then them finding it together. It's really incredible to see that creative process.
There's the point, like Get Back, the song that the documentary is named after. Literally, there's a clip of Paul McCartney basically discovering the riff for that song and basically writing it in front of you. So it's like very cool to see the creative process in that way.
The birth of this song you've probably heard 8,000 times in your life, and it's like, this is how it came to be.
Trying to find a name, like JoJo, they're trying to figure out a last name or something. He's singing different versions of the song with different last names. Super interesting.
Different states, it's very wild. But I recommend that if you're a Beatles person. It's long, though. Peter Jackson. I'm a big Beatles fan, but I became one more as an adult.
Can I steal that energy of British people and making of and go with one I know, Jacob, we watched as well, the 20th anniversary Harry Potter special, which interestingly, I have the same complaint or not a complaint, but the same vibe I picked up on that, Jacob. It's not polite British people arguing. It's polite British people trying to get in a word to compliment each other. And that's where they just go, like you watch the interact, just go, yes, and actually and yes, I do actually. I enjoyed that very much when you did that. And he's trying to inject himself so much, and he just can't. He's such a polite little boy.
I haven't seen the whole thing of that yet. I put that on today a little bit earlier, and I was watching it. I probably watched the first half of it. But it's super interesting. They kind of go there first. They start, they see Christopher Columbus and the 3 actors kind of talk with him, and they show a bunch of behind the scenes from the first 2 movies. And I thought that was really interesting because they're just like, yeah, we were just a bunch of kids. We didn't really understand what was happening. And then they bring in Alfonso Cuarón, the best director who ever directed a Harry Potter movie. And just seeing all that behind the scenes stuff is really cool. And of course, they're all trying to compliment She Shall Who Not Be Named, while also trying to avoid mentioning her as much as possible.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Walking the line.
Interestingly done in that sense. Did either of you two check it out?
No, I thought it would be basically exactly what you're saying. Like, it's just a bunch of people being nice all the time. I want to watch the Friends one. I never watched Friends. I don't really care for Friends. But you get to watch Matthew Perry have like 5 or 6 breakdowns in that, right?
Oh,
Like, that's what I've heard. That there's like a bunch of breakdowns in the.
David
Friends
Schwimmer has
one.
like white hair now. It's crazy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so if you would tell me like Colin, do they argue at all? Like, do they get into it? Or they like,
It's-
Ron doesn't call Hermione no more?
No, it
very
is.
Then I'm not interested.
positive.
And
Yeah.
Jacob, even from how they open it into the world and how it's presented, it's like, oh, I'm just Emma Watson and I'm just out to read a book. Oh, what's this? I'm being
Yeah.
drawn back into my magical world, and everybody's, performing, and it's so big and just holding hands and just could not be saying sweeter and just more saccharine.
There's no
Yeah.
drama involved. But
No, at all.
I think
But-
the most interesting part for me was seeing what all the kids look like now and how well they've all aged because they're all
20 years!
actors and stuff. But
But
Yeah,
but
they're
that,
all
and
our
to
age,
say,
early
Jacob,
30s.
that they all look nice, and that Joe's big complaint would be that everybody is just so sweet and sweet and sweet. Don't you guys think the government should fund some sort of testing? What happened on that set that all those children came out of that, and there's not a bad apple amongst them? I said that to
man.
my sister who loves these series, Allie, our past guest. Go back and listen to her Harry
Yeah.
Potter episode. And she pointed out Daniel Radcliffe had a bit of alcoholism for a little bit there,
Yeah.
but it just seems like they have such a wonderful support system for each other.
Yeah, it's like not a Feldman in the group. No offense.
No.
It's like, there was a lot of '80s kid stars. McCulkin, my favorite. Macaulay.
Yeah.
They had a rough time.
Not
on
a
it.
not a
back to,
not a Dustin Diamond in the mic or in the mic.
No.
Yeah,
Well,
but
it goes
you
back
guys are
to,
naming a bunch of American kids versus a bunch of British
Oh,
kids.
dang.
Like,
They're
come over
very
here
polite.
and work, those hours. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
we're not polite here.
Yeah, I'm
how
sure they all
well
like garbage.
They got crumpets and tea every like 3 hours. I bet it was really
Yeah.
nice.
I think it just goes back to how well they cast those movies originally with the three. Like they cast all those actors when they were young kids.
Children,
and they all
yeah.
turned out so well. And like Daniel Radcliffe now, he's got that nice beard. He's looking super sharp. Emma Watson looks great. Like they all look, great. I mean, they're
Ron
only
is alive.
30.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here's my thing with these documentaries. I'm kind of with Joe, and I'm sorry to take us again off the wrong stream, but they do them for the Star Wars on Disney, and they are so sterile. It's almost like propaganda. Like everyone
Yeah.
loved each other and
Yeah.
had so much fun, and we love Star Wars, and
Yeah,
we love
that's how
you,
this
and we love everything. And it's like that's
No.
not how movies are made, dog. I've been
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
I need to see like Rupert Grint be like, yeah, well, after that light fell on my leg and I developed the limp, then I couldn't drive my ice cream truck no more, and Daniel wouldn't take my phone calls.
That's right.
It's like I need
You
moments like
bastard.
that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
there's none of that, but it's just happiness, and we love Harry Potter.
We
But
do. We did
Pretty
it. It was
much.
one of our
Yeah.
month-long breakdowns, 2-month-long breakdowns for those. So go
That's
back and
right.
check it out. I do.
Last year.
Yeah, last year. So my visions of another streaming service that we're not supposed to get to yet, it was simply a vision of the future. Now I'm being pulled back to Jacob's favorite planet to kick off the big HBO thing that will get an episode. What are we talking about, Jacob?
The journey's
Yeah.
just begun.
Yes. Oh, Zendaya.
Of course, we're talking about Dune Part 1.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to
Denis Villeneuve. Welcome to Arrakis, my Dune, my desert planet. We're talking about desert power.
Spice
No, but yeah, that movie came out. It was a hit.
It was a big
maybe
deal.
overshadowed
We
by
missed it, yeah.
Spider-Man and that, but
A little bit.
it was successful, and I thought it was great. But I definitely want to do a full episode. I'm a huge Dune head. I want to rewatch the Lynch version. I want to watch the TV sci-fi movie all before our episode, so I can be a
Hey,
real
shout out to
Dune
my
expert.
Dune heads out there.
Yo, if we
Yeah,
do it,
I'm
that's
like
the way to
Dune
do
heads
it.
and
Y'all are
Karate Kid
Dune heads.
kids.
We should
Make some
tune it
noise.
up right. Yeah.
But
I
overall,
let the
my
spice
thoughts on this,
flow.
this
Yes.
movie is that it's the best Dune adaptation, obviously, and I thought it was very successful in what it was trying to do, and I'm very excited for part 2.
I knew nothing about the source material, had never seen any of the other versions. I just knew what a sandworm was, and that's about it. And
You've seen Beetlejuice.
yeah, I've seen that.
Seen Tremors.
Yeah. Oh, I love
You've
Tremors.
seen Star Wars.
I want to do a Tremors episode. Let's go. But
Dune's probably the
Please.
worst Tremors movie.
yeah. Yo, you're right. You're right. Never
Those
mind. I hated
graboids
it.
are crazy.
Putting
not
the whole
enough.
thing in space just seemed really unrealistic.
You don't see
know?
Graboid till the last, like, whatever. I
Only one with a
dislike
bunch of psychedelic drugs in it, though.
They got Graboids in the Hobbit remake, too.
Yeah, they added Dune
Graboids.
sandworms into The Hobbit.
No, the graboids now. Get out of here. But
right.
I loved it, and I would have watched 6 hours of that movie. I love the tone. You know, I like Blade
Wow.
Runner 2049. I love the world, and he just gets better and better, I think, with each outing. And this is grand in scope, and I think it delivers the epicness. I loved
Denis
it.
Villeneuve, master director. Basically, I'll see anything he makes at this point. He's on that list with Paul Thomas Anderson and whoever else for me. But also, I just wanted to mention I've been reading Dune. I wish I had it right here, but I don't. It's in the other room.
Where you read, your
Dune,
reading
the
room.
novel.
The
Yeah,
library.
you've been reading.
Nice.
You
nice.
like
been
Frank
reading-
Herbert's Doom.
Yes.
Herbert's Dune, 1965. Been
Wow.
reading that. Great book. It's definitely a dense novel from the 60s. So if you're into that kind of thing, check it out. But I hope to have that not finished because I'm not that far through it, but maybe more through it by the time we do our episode.
Well, if you can get through part 1, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just read the first half.
half of the book. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the movie very well casted, cinematography beautiful, score, good Hans Zimmer score. It's all there, so very excited to talk about that more for sure.
Joe, do you see Dune? What do you think?
I did, yeah. I liked it more than I thought I would. I'm excited for an episode. Jacob, how many pages into Dune are you? Are you on like page 6 and you're over here
I'm
being like,
about
yeah, I've been reading it.
Through,
And the planet has sand.
Pro
let's
log.
look.
well, in some ways, it's aged really well in that it feels very modern in some ways, but it's also a book that was written in the 60s, so that definitely there's those elements of it too, if you know what I'm
They
saying.
keep saying things like shagadelic and groovy.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
throwing you
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
It's
But
like-
there's a very interesting reason why there's no computers. There's an in-universe explanation for this because there was a whole AI uprising and a whole war like 10,000 years ago called the Butlerian Jihad, which I even know a little bit about from reading when I was younger too. So there's a lot in there, but it's a dense
coming.
book. There's a lot of ideas, religion, spice. It's all there.
Oh,
So,
man. Love the spice. Colin, what do you think about Dune?
Nice. It's big. I did not like it. We'll talk about it.
What?
It's big and he didn't
I liked
like
it. I liked
huh?
it more than I liked it more than I thought I would. And like in retrospect, comparing it to some of the other big things, even Spider-Man, like it was nice to see a movie that was nuanced and an actual movie and not just like here's a point. I'm gonna hit you in the fucking head with it over and over and over again.
It's a better Star Wars movie than has been made in about 50 years. So
I disagree with that.
Nothing
50
happens in
years?
the movie. We'll talk about it.
But yeah, we'll talk about
it's-
it.
I liked it more than I thought I would. I guess is my
begins
main takeaway.
The journey.
Yeah, I thought it was.
well, if you guys do want to see the Lynch version, there is a fan edit on YouTube that is supposedly, a lot of Dune heads like me say that that's the definitive Lynch version that you should watch.
wow, a fan.
That'll
A lot of
edit.
DHs out there. They love it.
I gotta
Yep.
go.
Dune heads.
I gotta go fix the Hobbit. I'll be right back. So Dune, and as I said, I had a vision of the future streaming service. I guess now is time to go to the old Disney Plus. We're getting to that point now. We've had two kind of big things that I can think of. We did Loki. That was the last kind of thing we covered that was big on Disney.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then we've gotten Hawkeye. I almost said Hawkeye because that's what's in my notes.
Yeah, you
got
have
Hawkeye,
to say Hawkeye.
yeah.
Hot
Will Hawkeye get its own episode? A lot happened in this show. I think we were all very hot on it, and then I think it kind of left us all a little cold, or maybe I'm just talking for myself there.
Well, it's a winter show.
I
Um,
had
so
a
yes.
lackluster
It's Christmas,
ending,
Mike.
but I didn't.
You're
Yeah,
cold.
I didn't hate it, but it had a
There's an ice
lackluster.
rink.
All right, so are we gonna do an episode or not? Because there's like the fun fact of explaining the end, and we can do that
Oh,
right
true.
now,
True.
or
Right.
we can save it for a full episode.
I
do you
think with
mean
the
it-
amount of heavy hitters we have and the amount of new stuff, I think it might be fair to listeners, spoilers, Hawkeye, brief discussion,
Yeah.
let her
We're
rip.
past it.
All right, so
Yeah,
here
we're
it is.
past it.
I think it's one of the best Marvel shows. That ending, a lot of people I don't think understand, exact like everything that's happening with the return of Kingpin is ripped directly from Echo's origin story in 1998. Kingpin's not dead. He's going to be blinded. She shoots him twice in the eyes, and he goes temporarily blind and has to fight to maintain control of his empire when he is weakened to everyone. So Like he was wearing the outfit from Family Business, which was Vincent D'Onofrio's idea, another really famous Kingpin, line where he's got that Hawaiian shirt with his classic white suit. So I'm super excited about all of the like direct rips from the comics here. I think there's a lot to be excited for moving forward. Like Kingpin's definitely they didn't bring him back just to do that. Like they're gonna keep going with what they
Well,
set
first
up.
of all,
Yeah, that's
first
how
of
I
all,
felt, yeah.
if you think Kingpin is dead, then you might need
Yeah,
to get
come on.
your brain checked or something. Because obviously, okay, rule number one: if you don't see the body, they're not dead. Okay, that's like rule number one of anything. But obviously, he's not dead. Like that's, but
We
it
just
was a
saw
good-
Charlie Cox. Like, you're not going to bring back Daredevil and
I would
Kingpin and then
bring
just kill
for that.
Kingpin. Yeah, yeah.
But I did. You know what? I loved Echo Maya. I thought, and that actress that plays her is really deaf and has the prosthetic leg, and I thought that was
Yes.
great. I thought she did a great job, and I really liked. I liked the show for sure.
Yeah, it's
Well,
very fun.
bow people, that's your jam.
That's my jam, and we got Bo Guy and Bo Girl and Haley Steinfeld. I
Girl.
loved her in Bumblebee. She's basically playing a very similar character to her character in Bumblebee. And then, of course, we get Yelena, and I thought her and Yelena together
That
have
chemistry is fire. It is so
Yeah.
good when they're on screen together.
Mike, I would take Black Widow and Hawkeye, meaning this pair, over a Scarlet and Jeremy movie back in the day.
Oh,
1,000
yeah.
times over.
Sign me
yeah.
up for that. Yeah, that's excellent. And then Sword Guy, Jack. I love that guy. The
Yeah.
swordsman or whatever.
What a great
Yeah,
character.
Swordmaster.
You think he's the bad guy, but he's just a really nice guy who's really good with swords. And he's even when he goes to jail, he's like, "This is a misunderstanding. It's all right." Like he's so
Right,
positive.
he was the
It
red
is what
herring
it is.
for-
Darling, I'm being arrested.
Yeah, he's so charming. I like that guy a lot. I'm
did
glad
like
they didn't
that.
turn him evil. Yeah.
Yeah, and with Jeremy Renner, I'm a Bo guy. I love bows and I love bow people, but I was never that big on Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye. Didn't love him in the movies. They didn't give him a lot to do. He was just kind of the family man, whatever. But in this is the best Jeremy Renner Hawkeye thing that there is, and like he obviously gets the most to do. And I actually liked him in this for the first time. So
Yeah, I think he was great.
Another, I guess, beyond Easter egg, because if his wife is revealed to be a former Shield agent number 19, aka Mockingbird. So in the comics, that's his longtime partner. Now she's obviously his wife and retired. But there was a Mockingbird in that Agents of Shield show. So this either, totally just gets rid of that Agents of Shield show, puts that on a different universe or whatever. Or, Agent 19 Mockingbird is just like a moniker.
separate.
So yeah. So
Interesting.
either
So you're
it's
really,
like, oh, that's a cool little Easter egg, or it pulls something in big picture style.
Joe, you're really
Interesting.
spoiling a lot of future Marvel developments that I didn't know about because I don't read the comics.
Well, they
Well,
exist.
I don't
so-
think they're. I don't think Linda Cardellini's gonna like put on a onesie and go back to fighting crime or anything. I think
Right.
that's just like
Well,
a
there was
fun.
the hints of that, and this whole watch they're trying to get back the whole time. I'm like, what's up with this watch? And I guess it's just a watch that she really liked. So
Yeah, but it would
Yeah.
blow her cover of who she was.
Yeah.
That's
None of
Right.
none of that is my issue. And when I say the ending too, couldn't care less about if Hawkeye Kingpin was quote unquote killed. I do agree it's one of the best shows that they've put out for sure. But the structure of can anybody even tell me what even happened in that show? There's the black market auction that uncovers all of this. But I truly don't even understand why anybody is even just involved at certain points.
Because of the
It is
Ronin.
revealed.
he's trying to
Yes.
destroy the Ronin
That
stuff.
part is wrapped up so quickly, and again, he truly he bumps into that girl. It's also happenstance. He bumps into Kate, who's wearing that. He wouldn't have seen it otherwise. Then he goes, "Oh, there's this whole thing we got to unravel, which is that your mom is the master of a bunch of tracksuits who are in league with the Kingpin." It's a little snowball that turns into a gigantic boulder at the end. That is my issue with the show.
Yeah.
I like that structure. That's like one of my preferred types of adventures is, oops, I fell into this and now it's keep going. I got invited to a Christmas party and now it's getting taken over by terrorists.
Yeah, wrong
Yeah,
place,
I
wrong
like
time.
I like the whole
Indiana Jones.
Christmas Die Hard vibes to it all. Like it felt like a throwback to
That finale felt very Die Hard when they're in the office building. Yeah. I liked that it was Christmas themed. That's unique. Like I don't know if it's going to be a yearly watch, but like having the Christmas music like in the show itself, it's like it definitely
helpful.
time stamped itself to the holiday season. Who knows? Maybe I'll check it out again.
Yeah,
I just wish Falcon and the Winter Soldier was half as good as Hawkeye was. Like,
yeah.
half as good, I would have been happy.
I think what
this
made Hawkeye
overshadowed it.
even better too is in conjunction with the Spider-Man movie coming out. Like it was just such good synergy with the Daredevil showing up in Spider-Man. Like it was the best week that Marvel's had since Endgame or even before Endgame.
It was the best week movies have had since before all of this happened as well. So
Right, except the week Dune came out.
yeah, except the week Dune came out. But Jacob, I know you like bow guys, but do you like boba guys, like a Boba Fett? And do you like his book because you're reading Dune? Do you read the Book of Boba Fett, or have you not read it yet?
You know, maybe Boba Fett would maybe be better if he had a bow. Boba's bow.
Boba's bow. Can you
But-
draw that?
that was-
Artist, hey, fan art that to me. Boba's
Yeah.
bow. Thank you. It's made from a gaffy
Omega
stick.
uses a bow, and that's like his little
Omega.
clone sister. Yeah.
Omega.
Omega?
Omega.
Hey.
Yeah, who knows? But Joe, Book of Boba Fett. Watched it yet?
Oh yeah, I loved it, man. I get a lot of people are like, it's not that great. That's your fault. You we have known for years that like
Right.
a Boba Fett thing's probably not going to be that interesting.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would have happened one of the 9 million times they tried to make it happen. So if you put it into that context, I was actually really impressed. It was better than I thought it would be. To me, spoiler alert, just getting that escape scene is like, yeah, the rest could be a blank screen and it's going to be fine. Like that's all I wanted from this.
It's
we're
finally
talking about
revealed.
We're talking about a character that was originally killed as basically a gag, like a blind guy pushes him into the Sarlacc and he dies.
There's
he
like a
was
Wilhelm
never
screen in
intended-
that scene too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so he was never intended to be like the cultural kind of phenomenon that he became. And you know, Mike and I, we have a friend that is super into Boba Fett, but he never did anything cool in the original series. Like, but so I thought it would, you know, I wasn't expecting it to be great. Like, it wasn't like the Mandalorian level of I was really into it, but I did enjoy it. I'm willing to watch more.
Can I ask Joe, Master of Space and Time, where is this?
So this
Like
is
right after Return of the Jedi, basically, right?
well, no, this is post Mando.
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah.
he's gotten his armor back, but he
But Mando
escapes
was
pretty
that
soon
again?
after. It's
Yeah.
5 years after Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
Mando season 1 is 5 years after Return of the Jedi. Season 2 rolls into season 1 pretty abruptly, so I would assume it's 5 to 6 canon years since Return of the Jedi, which means he probably roamed the desert for 4 to 5 years. But I'm assuming we're going to see more and more of that adventure as the show unwinds. And look, like, there's like a couple cameos. Beyond anything, like, I think the Book of Boba Fett could be a good set up series for other stuff. And I have zero problem with that. I get a lot of people could have a problem with that. It's like, no, I just want a good Boba thing. Nah, like, introduce me to some other parts of the universe that we're going to explore in other shows. You know what I mean? Like, Mandalorian, you know, like maybe we'll get a Mando cameo. Maybe that'll give us a hint to what's going to happen in season 3. More than anything, I'm hoping we see like a Prince Zyzer or, you know, a Maul from Crimson Dawn,
Dash Rendar.
another Hut, something like that. Dash Rendar. Oh my God, I'd lose my fucking mind.
Let's go.
Grogu.
The kid from Jedi Outcast, like,
Yeah,
That's an actual.
I agree with you, Joe.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of shows, you know, what's going on with Tatooine right now, like the, you
Yeah.
know, the whole Tatooine scene. But to me, yeah, it could be a bridge to other things. I think it's funny the developments of like when they first were making the Mandalorian, people were like, oh, is it going to be about Boba Fett? And they're like, no, it's not going to be Boba Fett. It's going to be a different Mandalorian. And actually, Boba Fett's not really a Mandalorian. He's actually a clone of Jango Fett. Blah blah blah. But and now we're actually getting the Boba Fett show. The other thing I really like about it is that Tamura Morrison and Ming-Na Wen are just like, you know, two people that are over the age of 60, right? And they're like the two stars of this show with action and stuff. And the action wasn't amazing, but it's just nice to see them and they're
The
killing
action was
it.
really bad.
Yeah, but like
Nah.
he's an old guy. He can't move like some of the younger people.
I do think, we did episodes 2 years ago on every Star Wars movie, and I think it's no secret that regardless, the Disney ones are inferior to what came before, including the prequels in almost every way. Because they did not just look at what Marvel was doing and say, hey, what if we had like a roadmap for these? So now they're like, let's just do the Marvel thing. We'll have like this Hawkeye, right? We'll have Boba Fett, and it'll be a setup show. It'll be connecting the next kind of thing. Right. We have Obi-Wan coming. We'll introduce Darth Maul. He'll be an Obi-Wan show. Who the fuck knows? But like using it as that's
they're
smart.
definitely following the MCU template of their recent shows.
And they should have done that from the start when they got the rights to Star Wars.
Well, follow them
think,
exactly.
We're going to be getting all over the timeline because
I want Vince
Mando
D'Onofrio with Jabba Hutt.
Mando is post Return of the Jedi pre sequel
Force
series.
Awakens.
Yes.
Yeah, but Obi-Wan can't be, that caps at A New Hope, right? Can't go beyond that. The Cassian Andor show cannot go past Rogue One, so we're going to be exploring 3 to 4 different time. Yeah, spoiler alert for Rogue One. Cassian Andor doesn't make it out.
Yeah.
There's also that Acolyte show. So,
but they've announced so many shows that have also been canceled. It's like we announced this whole slate. A couple of them have already been, Rangers of the Knights of the Old Republic is gone or whatever. But I'm a little apprehensive about the Obi-Wan show still, just because, there wasn't supposed to be anything more between Revenge of the Sith and New Hope. Like that's the Anakin Obi-Wan story. Like why are we bringing back Hayden Christensen? Like it doesn't make sense. But I'll just, I'll watch and see.
Does it need to
I got
exist?
on this. Everything needs to exist.
Nothing.
I rewatched Solo a couple days ago before.
Wow.
Well, yeah, because I'm really hopeful that we're gonna get some sort of tie-in to the crime syndicates and the underworld in Book of Boba Fett. It just makes sense to me. Like that's what I'm hopeful for.
Sure.
What time period's that, Joe? Could that Han Solo show up on this show, that aged guy, the Aldrin Ehrenreich?
My argument would be yes, and that you need to everyone just needs to get over it. And I think the biggest mistake he could, because here's my argument.
Well, it couldn't be Harrison Ford. He's 1,000,000 years old, Jacob.
Let me just make this clear argument. 1 million people have played Batman. Harrison Ford is not Han Solo. Han Solo is a character. The biggest mistake that Disney's made so far, in my opinion, is that they did the face morph technology for Luke in Mando Season 2 instead of just casting someone. These characters are going to show up.
Winter Soldier.
Sebastian Stan, it could have been.
True.
These characters are going to show up. You might as well just get used to the new kids on the block.
The studio said they're going to do it with or without us, according to the M4 tricks.
Right. But Han Solo, wouldn't he be out in Ehrenreich 10 years from now? Because this is post Return of the Jedi. He would have.
You're telling me it's Tamura Morrison standing next to Jabba the Hutt? I guess that is what it always is. But it's this guy, this out of shape guy who crawls out of the worm, is the guy who was standing next to him.
If you think about the original series, was 30 years after the prequel, so he's 30 years older. So I guess he would be in his 30s or 40s.
He was already a 10-year-old kid. He'd be 40. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Solo ends with him and Chewbacca being like, hey, let's go on to this planet called Tatooine and we'll go work for someone called Jabba the Hutt.
Right.
So you can infer that the end of Solo is only a year before the original series happens. The original series happens over the course of 5 years. So if he shows up in things now, he's about the right age.
I guess that's
Solo.
true.
Yeah.
I mean, my argument
is
just you got to get over it. Everyone's just got to I think the biggest mistake they made in retrospect is going to be that they face morphed Luke instead of hiring someone.
Interesting argument.
I bet you galaxy braining it that 20 years from now when our kids are watching their favorite era of Star Wars, which is this, they're going to go back to those old episodes and they're going to put in whatever person that they cast as Luke for that final reveal.
Joe, I think you're right because, and the other thing is, people who are against recasting some of these characters, you're naive if you think you're never going to see a young Luke and young Leia and young Han again played by different actors. Of course, Star Wars is going to keep going. They're going to keep making shit. Of course, they're going to do that eventually.
And I'll tell you, after rewatching Solo, you're fucking lucky you got this Aldrin Ellick and Donald Glover. They're good.
Yeah,
they're fine.
pronunciation of his
And
name.
Mike's gonna be fucking
Oh, I
90
think so,
years
right?
old. Into his grandkids. No, put on the McClunky cut. That's the good
The
one.
McClunky cut is the best we ever got.
That's right. We
That's
need a
right.
freaking Greedo cameo with Boba Fett or something.
No, we already got it in
Yes.
the
No,
prequel.
Greedo's
Or
dead.
no,
Or
yes.
a
Damn it!
different-
I keep getting
whatever
messed up.
his species is called.
He could be on the
He
Obi-Wan
needed to
show.
show up
Deviant.
in Solo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want a Dengar or IG-88. Give me
Oh,
like
yeah.
a Bosk. Someone's got to show up. You gotta.
We
come
gotta
on, come on,
transition.
come on,
Also,
come on.
They had that lizard guy show up and he was like, "Didn't you used to be this guy that like work with this guy or something? Didn't they say that?" I don't
Yeah,
know.
but that wasn't Bosk. That was
wasn't
just a
Bosk.
different.
Bosk.
No.
Vassal or whatever.
It could be any lizard guy, really.
Yeah, but you know,
Yeah.
No, it
Well-
needs to be the right lizard guy.
It's a Gorn,
it
anyways.
needs to be the guy I remember. Oh, it is a Gorn,
Yeah.
you're right. And then the Princess Leia disguise looks like the Breen. You know?
Right. Yeah.
So
there
anyway,
you go.
George Lucas just stole ideas from other people. He got
Yeah.
very, very lucky.
Tatooine, sandworms. I wonder where you got that idea from.
Spice.
That's a desert.
World War II.
He got it from
fireplace.
Tremors, obviously.
Yeah, the originator of the sandworm.
Yeah.
Well, so we'll see. Book of Boba Fett just coming out now. Let us know what you think, normies. Quick little video game hit. I don't have a ton here. And then I do want to throw in the wrap up to Jacob. Jacob has a very special segment that we're going to get to
Oh, that's
at the
we
top
do.
of Final Thoughts. We're going to save it for you. We're teasing it. So
Great.
any interesting video game hits since...
If you're not jumping right in, Mike, I will sacrifice to the altar because I am so excited and happy. Joe has been playing Pokemon.
Wow.
Yes.
How
I've
is
been
it?
playing Sword and Shield. I think it's Sword and Shield is what it's called.
Yeah, yeah.
Look, so this is the first Switch game that I don't feel too dumb for. Like I've played
Fair.
Breath of the Wild, and I just feel like inept trying to play it. Like I wander into end game level shit all the time. I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
Pokemon is like, oh, you vaguely remember your childhood? It's just so easy now. Everything you want to
Pikachu
do,
takes
you
you
can
by the
just
hand.
do. Yeah, it's adorable. I fucking love it. Immediately
Yay!
put in like in the first 3 days, like my Pokedex was up to like 200. I had like
man.
I have like 10 level 60 characters already, and now I'm just like fighting off the urge to go finish this story. Which like if I went down right now and played 45 minutes, I think I'd be done with the story.
You'd be done, but you're not done yet. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've really enjoyed it. Like it's been it's just like getting back on riding a bike, but now did you know kids don't have to pedal anymore? Like that's how it feels.
You don't have
Yeah.
to do anything anymore. To my non-two Switch friends here, I will just say, this feels like a triumph for me. This is my little corner of nerdy shit.
Yeah.
Obviously, we all toyed with it as children, but you kind of fight that urge, right? And Joe's like, do I want to come back into this? And it seemed like just a fun success in that you see that it's like a thing where
It's
it's
so
like,
fun.
there's no stress to this. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not. This is what I remember video games being like. It's like there's just no consequences. You're just having a good time. And could you
Right.
two ever see yourself jumping back with Pokemon?
Personally, yes, because it's not too long ago that I was back in the Pokemon world on the 3DS, right before the Switch. And I would do tournaments. Like I went to a competitive Pokemon tournament with friend of the show,
Oh,
X
you're back
Kaita.
in then, Mike.
So I could, it wouldn't take
Kaita
much
loves
to
Pokemon.
get me back
He
in.
does.
Yeah.
It's worth the cost of a Switch just to play Pokemon again. Like I really do think so.
There's the
Also,
weird.
I
new
found out I played the
Japanese one
Switch
coming out.
in like the
I was
weirdest
looking
fucking
into
way
getting
possible.
Oh yeah. How did you play the Switch?
Colin, I pace around my house with it on the TV.
Sure.
Of course.
And I don't like play with the controller. I hold the two separately.
Sure.
Okay.
whatever whatever.
That is
can.
the preferred way to play.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw that in one of their very diverse commercials.
You're at a rooftop party.
You're at a rooftop party pacing with the Joy-Cons and it's on the TV.
You can camp with the Pokemon, and when you do that, you gotta like throw the ball, and they come and get it.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, let
Did
me
you
It's
have
ask
Joy-Con?
adorable.
Is there like a crafting
Yeah.
element? Because I really need a crafting element.
That
You
is
can cook,
the
dog.
one thing that. But if There used to be base making, Jacob. If they put that
Yeah.
back in and you could specialize that stuff, I would
need base
push
making.
it under your door.
Yeah.
Be
I was
tailor-made.
looking into getting one of those new like OLED switches. I'll either get that or a PS5. I don't know, but
You'll never get a PS5, then, so
You
do it.
probably
Those
shouldn't.
don't exist.
But what I wanted to ask you guys about is there's this new open world Pokemon game that
Yes.
they're developing, right? So how is your
Now,
interest in that?
That's going to be a little bit more like my beloved franchise Monster Hunter, Joe. So I'm a little more worried about where that's going to go. And everybody keeps coming out with like, and what you just said, Breath of the Wild is too much for you as far as just gameplay, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
This is people
I was just lost.
going like, finally, a Pokemon game for the Switch, like Breath of the Wild. This is what it should have been the whole time. And I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it'd
mean,
be-
that might. Yeah, good.
No, like it gives you some people have a Pokemon dream in their head of being able to actually have a Pokemon. And like, so that idea of like, it gives you the sense of scale with these creatures. Because when you read a Pokemon card or their description, it's like, what, Onyx is like 15 feet tall. He's a little pixel on the thing. But to see that represented contrasting your avatar would kind of be interesting, but it could be a more
You
complex
see that in this
system.
game.
Really?
When you're hunting Pokemon in this game or you're running around, like there will be a giant Onyx and you can either run away from him or run up to him, or
they
you can
represent
swim
them,
with
yeah.
the Gyarados. Yeah,
So it's not
no,
just
like,
all grass.
They'll walk up on them.
Wow.
My other problem.
Okay, then I'm good. I'm
This
going to get
brings
that
me to
game.
my other problem with Pokemon is that there's too damn many of them. Okay,
Yes.
not to sound like an old geezer, but after like the second generation, I was like, I don't know who any of these fucking Pokemon are. Like, there's too many of them now. I only know
I
the
will
first
say-
300.
I only know the first 150.
Yeah.
But then this one, it's like coughing. Remember coughing? But he's got a top hat. Like he's just got. It's the same
that's
one.
true.
But he's
Yeah, they're
wearing
probably
a top
running
hat.
out of ideas.
Yeah.
Well, the previous
They
generation,
are.
they had all the
This one's just a
Hawaiian
monkey.
ones.
Yeah,
They
this
were
is
just
the
the
first time where I gave
versions
them all nicknames. Usually I would
Oh,
just
you
be like,
gotta.
no, it's a Growlithe. It's cool. It's a Growlithe. This time I'm
I
like,
always give them nicknames.
I don't know what that thing is. I'm gonna call it, like Cookie.
I like
think
the-
they're all got
Yours.
dumb names now.
Cookie's yours, Joe. That's the point.
I like the generation where they got to like, this is a Pokemon. What is it? It's keys. It's just keys.
It's
What about this
just
one?
keys on
It's
a
just an ice
keychain.
cream cone. It's
Yeah.
just an
Yeah,
ice cream
there's
cone.
we were just
like-
hungry.
Yeah.
Like Clink and Clunk are in this one, and they're just like little gears.
Yeah.
Like,
What
that's all they are.
What I'd really like is if they could remaster like Red and Blue, but with updated graphics to like Sword and Shield level, and all this kind of the modern stuff that Sword and Shield has, but only Red and Blue, and just have the first 150 and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
Jacob. It's called Let's Go Pikachu, and it already exists.
Oh, really?
It's Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee is the original 150.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
This is a great backdoor Pokemon sales pitch. Good job, guys.
Is that not?
It is.
Am I
No,
wrong?
you're
on that?
100%. No, Joe, you are 100% right. I'm doing that shaky thing because then you just run into what the Pokemon Company has done to all this stuff. Because that's actually kind of a Pokemon Go hybrid as well. You're not actually playing it like you used to. It's kind of mobile game
Augmented
based.
reality.
Oh, yeah, there's like
Play.
more
Yeah,
flicking,
it's-
yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
To what Mike was saying about how, Pokemon in your head. People
Yeah.
have a Pokemon game in their head, and it's never going to be perfect. And I'm just always happy with the fare we get because I like seeing all these little idiots. So that's
Right.
my.
Yeah.
If I
Well,
had a Switch, I probably would get it, but
You
Yeah.
should.
Yeah. Colin, I named my I got the little grass monkey. He was my starter, and I named him Monkey Bone.
hey, Brendan
Great name
Fraser.
for it.
Excellent. Very excellent.
I love you, Monkey Bone.
Well, as far as, Pokemon, obviously a big release is a big game to be playing. And there's one in everybody's head, and it's not necessarily the one you always get. And that's very similar to the other big release that happened during this time, which is Halo Infinite. Obviously, there's a Halo game in every Halo fan's head. And this isn't that game.
How is it stacking up, though, boys?
It's
to
terrible.
that image?
And I love
Oh,
it.
no.
It's terrible, and I love it.
yeah, I mean, there's really good things about it. There's things that they need to fix and improve. Remember when games just came out and then they were out and they were finished and everyone loved them?
They were on a disc, and all the
era is a
content was
long
there.
time.
Everything,
Yeah. that doesn't exist anymore. Games are in a constant state of this needs fixed, this needs patched, this servers need improved.
Upgraded.
Like, so anytime anything comes out like Halo Infinite, which people are loving and playing a lot, like I love the gameplay, but it's everything else. It's the monetization, it's the server issues, the lag. Like it's killing the game right now. And obviously, they're gonna fix stuff in January. But yeah,
Yeah.
To
So
that end,
Yep.
the story mode is not out. You guys are
The story-
only playing
it's out now.
multiplayer.
It came
It's
out in
okay.
December. Yeah.
so you can get the multiplayer free to play. You can download. You can play it right now, totally free. The campaign is $60. So I have both. So I've played a bunch of the campaign. Really love the campaign. So
Really?
yeah. So the thing about the campaign this time, it's the first open world Halo game. So it's got the traditional Halo levels, but in between that, there's a lot of like Far Cry-esque going around, conquering different bases, and that
Like
kind of thing.
MGS5 kind of vibe.
Oh, weird.
So if you like that, if you like Breath of the Wild, in your Halo, then you're
You
gonna
kind of
like
walk
it.
around the whole ring, right? Theoretically.
Essentially, yeah. Like there's it's cool because you can get different warthogs and shit. But the new addition to this game, which I love, is the grappling hook. And every game is improved
Spider-Man.
with-
Of course.
Yeah.
No, no. I'm
So if
sold.
you're-
You're telling me I could web swing
You need a
and
hook
get
shot.
no
Yeah.
look headshots?
Traversal has never been more fun because I just grapple hook everywhere in the campaign. And if you've ever played Just Cause, have you guys ever played those games?
Totally.
It's a lot like
Yes.
Just Cause. That's a game where you just blow stuff up a lot and you fly around with a grappling hook and a parachute and whatnot. But this game,
It's a third-person game, though. I'm assuming it's all still first-person.
Oh, yeah.
In these in-between
yeah,
parts,
it's a
right?
first-person shooter, but it's semi-open world, so there's different areas in between sort of the main story missions where it's a little more kind of on rails. So I think it sort of works. Like the open world doesn't elevate the campaign that much. Like it's pretty. If you played any open world game like that, you've played this game. It doesn't add a lot of new elements, but it's just fun to just go around. I get all the different collectibles, which I can use in multiplayer, and so I have been putting a lot of time into that.
Yeah, and so speaking for the free component, the multiplayer, right? The game is called Halo Infinite, but I call it Halo Finite because like the options are so limited right now. As Jacob said, it's not complete, so they don't have like a Team Slayer ranked mode. Like there's modes missing.
Yeah,
They're-
they launched with only ranked, quick play, and Fiesta, which was the limited time event. They didn't have SWAT. They didn't have free for all at first. They didn't even have Team Slayer by itself, separated from objective. So they've
Yeah.
added some of that stuff now.
So that's a problem. They only have like 6 maps, and then again, the monetization is so bad. Where like if you pay the $10 a month or whatever for the battle pass, you can get cooler customizables. But if you don't get shit. And the other thing is, if you unlock, say, you want to unlock the color purple, you have like 10 different armor sets, but you can only use the color purple on one, and then you need to unlock it again for every other armor set that you want
Oh
the color
my
purple.
yeah,
So it's
but there's not
down
even 10
to that
armor
level.
sets right now.
But yeah,
Right now so you
3.
have the main armor set, you have the one from the first battle pass, which is Heroes of Reach, so it's like all the different armor from Reach. So you can pay $10 for the premium battle pass, you get some cool stuff, but then all of the cool colors and coatings that I unlocked from the campaign are all on the one armor core, and then all the cool stuff that I unlocked is
like
on
you
the other
can't buy
armor core.
one can of paint for everything is the problem. And
Yeah.
even like if you want to change the color of your logo, you have to get that color for every different logo, and it's like fuck you
Yeah.
guys basically.
So the customization and monetization is
It's
completely
predatory.
fucked right now.
Yeah,
it's
it's
very
predatory.
predatory. I would say it needs a complete overhaul. Probably not going to happen to that degree, but they are going to, like, the outrage has been so loud that they're definitely going to fix certain
They'll
things.
fix it.
But-
yeah,
I mean, like the same
Yeah.
thing happened with Battlefront 2 when
Oh,
it
yeah.
came out, and people were
Yeah.
like, "This is garbage." That game is still playable now that it's been fixed.
Yep,
right.
yep. And so
Yeah,
that's a
and the
silver
core
lining.
gameplay.
Yeah, the
core
mechanics are
gameplay
good.
Is great. The shooting is the best, like, since like Halo 2 and Halo 3. I think like it's never been
Man.
cleaner. Like that core gameplay loop of like just killing people and dying and getting reborn. Like
Getting
it's
your
still super
shields.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still super addicting. I've been playing a lot of ranked. I've been playing with Mike. been playing with our other friends. We were rolling 7 or 8 people deep last night doing big team
Damn,
battle.
deathmatch with the
We had
boys.
12 people
Yeah.
in a big team battle at one point, so it's been
Fucking
fun
LAN
socially.
party.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been the social aspect but even the social aspect, it's like it's not the same. They don't have pre-game lobbies. You can't really talk to the other people in the game that much. Like it's
Oh,
not
cool.
the same. Like
We're doing
Halo
it through
3,
Discord. We're not doing it in game because it's too
Yeah.
You
complicated.
wouldn't want to.
I can't even figure out how to add people as friends in the game. I just do it all on Discord.
Oh, the UI is trash too. It looks like
UI
beta.
is terrible. Like so
Yeah.
many things that were solved with Halo 3 have been so like downgraded. It's just insane.
Remember,
that,
we
like,
don't
they
finish
just-
games anymore. That's not what we do. But
Right.
you know, the mechanics
But-
they did nail. It's fun to shoot, and Halo Infinite. If you like Halo,
Yeah.
play the multiplayer for free right now.
And I think the best thing about it has been the social aspect of have different friends from kind of different circles meeting for the first time and talking on Discord and because of this game. And nothing beats just like, getting in a warthog with your friend, riding around, shooting the gun. Like it's a blast for sure.
Halo was
Yeah.
the first game to bridge the nerds and the jocks in that era
Yes,
of my
that's
life.
right.
That's
and
100% right.
Everybody loves Halo.
it's doing that
Everybody
again.
could play
Halo's
Halo.
back, baby. It feels good.
It's
There's an
back.
energy around it. It has some issues, a lot of issues. Fix them, devs, pointing at the
Yeah.
camera. But the mechanics are good. It's fun to play when everything is working, when the server's not crashing and everything's going smooth. It's a ton of fun, and that's pretty much it.
Man,
Yeah.
Halo, Pokemon, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, The Matrix.
boy.
Wow.
It's a great time to be a 13-year-old boy.
We're
Yeah,
back.
it's a wonderful time.
It's a great time to be a former 13-year-old boy who's in their early 30s, right?
And has expendable income and wants to rebuy your childhood. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how about this? I think we're going to head over to final thoughts, and right at the top, we have a very special segment from Jacob. We'll get to that.
Don't
right
hype
after
it up
this.
that much.
Get ready. You guys are going to love it. All right.
It's the best thing. It's the best thing that's ever been on this pod.
Go bring your friends into the room and have them put it on their phone
Yeah,
separately so we get more listeners.
Turn it up.
Yeah. All right.
Important. This is important.
Very important. Catch you after right now.
Back. We're about to wrap things up here, but first we're going to throw it over to Jacob for a special segment, what we're calling the Acobbdamy Awards.
Yes.
I wanted to call this Jacob's award movie roundup.
I
That's the
supported that.
subtitle.
Told we were going to call it
Dog.
Acobbdamy
I vetoed
Awards.
it.
The board
But yeah,
voted.
I've seen a couple. I've seen a couple awards movies recently, or movies that are sort of favorites to be nominated for Best Picture, if you will.
In
And
the
I got
conversation.
in the conversation for sure. I've got 3 movies for you. 2 of them I thought were really excellent. One of them I thought was not that great. But they are Licorice Pizza, Power of the Dog, and Don't Look Up. So,
Dogs can't
first of all,
look up. So
Which
Yeah,
one
that's their power.
did you
Or
think
eat
was
licorice.
kind of
Ah.
not good? I saw all of those except Licorice Pizza, which I'm very
Okay.
jealous of. That's a cool checkout.
Yes. So real quick, Joe and Mike, have you guys seen any of those?
I have
or-
not seen any of these awards movies. So.
I have not. No. Don't Look
Okay.
Up is on my list, but after Matrix 4, I just didn't really have the energy to go through the same thing again.
Yeah, nowadays
so
I
2
only
of them
like.
are
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
2 of them are available on streaming on Netflix. Don't Look Up and Power of the Dog are on Netflix. Licorice Pizza I did see in theaters. I saw an afternoon matinee last week, and I had a blast. Of course, Paul Thomas Anderson, I might have mentioned it before on here, my all-time favorite director of all time. So, of course, I always want to see everything that he makes, and he don't miss. So, yeah, Licorice Pizza, loved it. I can talk more about that one as well, but I just want to hit the other ones real quick. The
Yep.
Power of the Dog, also really, really good. This is Jane Campion film, her first feature film in like 12 years. She's done a bunch of like the Piano, which was nominated for Oscars and stuff. Really
You
good
love the
filmmaker.
piano.
Yeah, I watched a bunch of Jane Campion films in school for.
I remember you
project.
bringing the piano home and watching it.
So, Power of the Dog, really, really good. It's a Western, but it's a different kind of Western. There isn't a gun in the movie, I don't think. There's no kind of action or anything like that. It's a very kind of understated psychodrama thriller type of thing, but it has a great ensemble. Benedict Cumberbatch, Kirsten Dunst, real life couple Kirsten Dunst and
Jesse Plemons.
Jesse Plemons. I call him Landry because that's what I
That's right.
know him as, Friday Night
Oh,
Lights.
Landry.
And Cody Smith McPhee, who plays the kid. But
AK
a great,
Nightcrawler.
yeah. Benedict Cumberbatch freaking kills it, and I usually don't even like Benedict Cumberbatch, but he's great in this role. I think probably going to win an Oscar for Best Actor. But he plays a very interesting character. He's like, so basically, him and Jesse Plemons are two people from this rich kind of Boston family who moved out west to be cattle farmers. Oh, also, this whole movie was shot in New Zealand, but it's supposed to be the American West, which is interesting because you can kind of tell it's New Zealand sometimes because it just looks different than the American West, but it kind of looks like they're in Middle Earth sometimes.
Nice.
But great,
Okay.
Great scenery, obviously.
Hopefully everybody got paid scale.
Jesse
Yeah.
Plemons is the
Union.
sheriff of the Shire.
That's right.
The old gaffer.
But they're these kind of rich. These come from this rich family, but they move out west to become cowboys and cattle farmers. And Benedict Cumberbatch plays this character. He's a closeted gay man who projects this outward like toxic masculinity and bullying kind of persona to hide his own
Self-hate or insecurity, whatever, right?
Exactly. So a lot of that, and it's just a really well paced movie. I think it's super watchable. I thought. Colin,
that might
you
be
saw
a
it as well.
spoiler for listeners. I was not as taken as you were. I would agree. Benedict Cumberbatch, very good. Now, you shared with us that article about how if you show your penis in a movie, you'll never win Best Actor. So I guess he won't.
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy's out, 28 days later.
Right. Not to spoil too much, but there's a lot of subtlety. You might even have to watch it twice to kind of get some of the subtleness of the themes that are going on and some things that maybe I didn't even completely
Way over
understand.
my head.
Yeah.
The best I could do is give you what I think that movie's about, and I'm not positive about nailing that. So
There's a lot going on though, and at first, you don't know what you're getting into exactly, but as it goes on, I think it gets kind of more intense. Into the third act, it gets very interesting. I never knew exactly where it was going.
So that leaves the one that you were not that crazy about then is
That's
Don't
right.
Look Up.
where the discourse
Look
seems
Up.
to be on this one, Jacob, that people really kind of soured on it.
Yeah, it was. So, this is Adam McKay, director. He also did, Vice, and he did the Big Short. So he's done a couple of political-esque type films recently.
He's also done these movies called Anchorman and Step Brothers. Some of
He
those
used to do a bunch of Will Ferrell comedies,
Right.
but now he seems like exclusively political comedy, which is, I like The Big Short. I didn't see Vice, but this movie, it kind of left me lukewarm. It's got an insanely stacked cast, but they don't really have that much to do. Like Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Meryl Streep, Timothy Chalamet, Jonah Hill, like insanely
Whatcha.
stacked cast.
Wow.
Kate
What's that
Blanchett.
really awful comedy? I think it's called Movie 43.
Yes.
Is that right?
Emma Stone. Yeah.
Yeah.
The trailer for Don't Look Up gave Movie 43 vibes for me. So I
It's
have
not
not
that
sat
bad.
down for it yet.
But I'll tell you what it is. It's not that bad. But what it is, it's a movie for essentially pretentious liberals who already agree with the point of the movie. It's essentially a movie that's preaching to the choir. So anyone who are, it's a movie about climate change, obviously, or maybe not obviously if you didn't know, but it could also be about COVID because, there's a lot of things that are very similar to the way our government responded to COVID. But to me, just didn't land because it's like anyone who thinks this is a good movie already agrees with the point it's making. So it's not doing anything other than it's just a bunch of smug Hollywood liberals kind of preaching to the choir, like I said.
Trying to get an Oscar.
Matrix 4. That's exactly why I
now,
don't
Joe,
like
I
Matrix
would
this
4.
say
movie
that
is
obviously
a lot
both
less
of these
going on.
movies, but they're both about climate change. Matrix 4 is 100% about climate change. I
have not watched this because after Matrix 4, I was like, I feel like I'm going to feel the same way about both these movies, which is like, okay, I got it in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Do something interesting.
Exactly. That's exactly how I felt. I didn't feel like it really justified even existing. Like, we get it. Like, climate change is bad. The government's not doing enough about it. Like, we all know that. I don't
That's
need a
the
movie to tell me
point.
that.
Get outraged.
I still
Get
have
mad.
potholes.
And-
Like the government doesn't do enough about pretty much anything. So
Yeah.
Even at the local
Right,
level.
but now you've got Adam McKay saying like, well, people got to wake up. It's like, yeah, we already know that. We already
Yeah,
know
no
that.
shit,
Then wake
Sherlock.
up. We all
Yeah,
need to then. I understand you're saying the people
there's
it's
not- yeah.
directly targeting might not receive its message, but it's a populist film in a popular streaming service that will get eyes on it that those people will misinterpret. They will. And it
Well, sure,
does
but-
paint liberals in the light of being too obsessed with other stupid shit to fix it as well. It literally
Yeah.
looks you in the eye and says, it doesn't matter. None of this matters. Just fix the problem. And
Right.
my heart was racing by the end of the film, and that's
Wow.
about all I
So you liked it?
I loved it. I thought it was
Wow.
great.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. I will say there are some points that did work for me, some points of satire that definitely did work for me. But some things are just like, what are they even going for here? Like Meryl Streep playing the president, she's like a weird mixture between Trump and Hillary Clinton. But it was just like some people were like too stupid to even like exist. Like it was too unrealistic almost. Like I get like government is incompetent, but like it's not that bad. Like
Yeah.
So, like Jonah Hill plays her son, who's also her chief of staff. Is just like I don't know. It wasn't. It seemed
He's
like a
a
lot of
cocaine addict. Who does that sound like? What Trump's son does that sound like?
right, but it's the satire is a little too broad for me. It's like I don't fully get what they're going for. There were some moments that I thought were good, but overall, and it's like 2.5 hours long. It's so long.
Yeah, very long.
I mean, I'll definitely check it out at some point. Licorice Pizza is the only one where it's like, can you just get to that $20 to $30 mark on Amazon already? Because I'll pay to watch that for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see all of them, but
Yeah,
Don't Look
still
Up, I
say-
just didn't have the patience for after watching Matrix 4 so closely.
Yeah, I say, definitely still watch Don't Look Up and maybe, form your own opinions. But for me, it's missable. Like, it's not one that I would say go out and watch right away because you can always catch up to it. But it just has a huge cast that it doesn't do a lot with. Like, Leo and Jennifer Lawrence are kind of understated. Even Timothy Chalamet kind of just shows up just for a little bit. And it's like, why? I don't know. But it was fine. But Licorice Pizza, if I can go back to that really quick. Paul Thomas Anderson. We love him, right?
Love to see it. Yeah.
We love to see it. This movie is set in the 1970s in the San Fernando Valley, which is a time period that I'm very nostalgic for, even though I didn't exist then. But it's a time period that I would love to be in right now. And this movie stars Cooper Hoffman, who is Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, and Alana Haim from the band Haim. If you're familiar with that band, it's three sisters. Their last name is Haim. In both their acting debut. Yeah, Raised in the Valley. And this is kind of a very like a chill hangout movie. It's a friends and family thing with Paul Thomas Anderson. He's very close with the Haim family. The whole Haim family stars in it as like themselves. Basically, her sisters play her sisters, and her parents play her parents in the movie.
Oh wow.
And Maya Rudolph, Paul Thomas Anderson's wife, is in it. So it's just, they shot it locally here in the Valley and during COVID. So it was like very unusual filming, but they got a bunch of friends and family in it and stuff.
Fresh face cast, Jacob. That's all newcomers. I would love to see them get some accolades. Speaking of stack stuff, how is Sean Penn someone I can never stand?
Well, he's not in it that much. That's what's interesting is like,
Really?
So it's kind of a series of vignettes, this movie. Like it doesn't have a traditional plot. It just kind of meanders, but in a good way, because it's just kind of a chill out movie, like a hangout movie. And so kind of just one thing happens.
In that way, Bradley will come in at some point.
Yeah, Bradley Cooper shows up for a scene. Sean Penn shows up for a scene. And so they're in and out. They're constantly introducing new characters. Tom Waits is in it. John C. Reilly has a cameo in a very funny way. Yeah, and it's just a really great Paul Thomas Anderson. I always love his movies. It's probably the most fun I've had with the Paul Thomas Anderson movie since Boogie Nights. So it's not as dark as some of his, There Will Be Blood and that kind of thing. It's a light movie. It's about a relationship between a 15-year-old kid who's the most confident, like 15-year-old boy you'll ever meet, and he kind of falls in love with this 25-year-old young woman. So there's been a bit of discourse online about there's a 10-year age gap between them, but just watch the movie and form
It
your own
tells a
opinions.
story around
Yeah.
that, I suppose. Right. So watch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. What do you think is the strongest candidate of these that you've seen? What's your front runner?
Licorice Pizza was the most fun to watch. I think The Power of the Dog might be the best movie of the three.
Interesting.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
okay. Well, thank you for giving
But
us
definitely
the
check.
Acobbdamy Awards. Yeah, roundup. Yeah.
Check out all three of those.
Who
Even
will
Don't Look
get
Up.
there?
I didn't necessarily like it as much, but you might.
Yeah.
And
I think- is the only one you're missing maybe that Red Rocket?
I haven't seen that, and I haven't seen Belfast, which is right now probably the favorite to win Best Picture, which is Kenneth Branagh directed. It's kind of a semi-autobiographical about a young boy growing up in Northern Ireland in the 1960s during the whole, the Troubles and all that. So, England and Northern Ireland, they didn't
Very
get along
boring.
so much.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting. IRA, car bombs.
No, Catholics.
But I definitely got to check that one out as well. But Power of the Dog is probably the second most likely to win Best Picture right now, so we'll see how that goes. But
we'll see which gets the pat on the back. But Best Picture.
not that I really care about Oscars, but I just like
but it's fun to speculate. So
Yeah.
here we are at our year-end review. Obviously, the Whatcha kind of, even though it's the beginning of 2022, looking at back last year. I want to ask, starting with Joe, do you have a favorite movie of this year, and what was it?
Yeah, a Spider-Man movie came out this year, so that's kind of difficult. Other than that, I really enjoyed Tick Tick Boom, another Andrew Garfield movie. So I think it does some really it's a musical, and I think it does some really interesting stuff with the camera. It's Lin-Manuel Miranda's directorial debut.
Oh, wow.
It's a musical about the making of Rent, right? It stars the creator, Andrew Garfield's playing the creator of Rent.
Larson.
It's a musical about the guy who created Rent.
Right.
Rent's not really. He's not working on Rent during it
Like,
or anything like that.
Oh yeah, that's
they do constantly remind you like, hey, this dude made Rent. Isn't that cool? And that's why you're watching this story. But other than that, Andrew Garfield, he's an incredible actor, and So other than Spider-Man, I would say Tick Tick Boom I really enjoyed.
I've been craving more Andrew Garfield, so yeah.
Yeah, I want to check that one out because I know a little bit about that guy's life story. He died right before Rent got big, basically, so he didn't even see his own
He died the night
blow
before
up.
the first preview.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like he died literally right before it. And the whole point of the musical is like he's turning 30 and he feels like he's running out of time. And then this guy literally dies, right before his vision is realized. So obviously that's a little bittersweet, but Andrew Garfield's performance is incredible. He couldn't sing before the movie, learned how to sing for the movie, sings incredibly. So yeah, Andrew Garfield, You're the Spider. I'm here for it.
I thought it was Year of Zendaya, but anyway, Colin, what was your favorite movie of the year?
Well, one real quick, a little bit more of revisionist history. My dad just saw Spider-Man and said to me, "God, I've always said Andrew Garfield was good, didn't I? He was a great Spider-Man." I'm like, no, nobody.
Now we've all always been saying
nobody
it.
has
Yeah.
ever
We never
said
criticized
that
him.
I want to reiterate that.
I thought we said he was a good Spider-Man in
Bad
movies.
Peter Parker. That's what we've heard. Because
That's what
he's too
Joe used to
confident as
say.
Peter. Yeah.
Yeah, that he was too confident.
He was too cool to be Peter.
But he was good in bad movies. I think that's the thing.
Right.
But anyway.
To answer your question, though, Mike, Letterboxd, the movie rating and reviewing website that I primarily use as a tracking barometer, or just because my mind is truly failing me, a journal, so I can go back and look and say, I watched all these. I didn't do a movie a year. I got my year-end report wrap-up that gives you the most people you've watched,
like
gauge,
Spotify, right?
Exactly. You're here you go.
Yep.
Because of this podcast, the most watched actor was Hugo Weaving at 9 films. That's 3 Matrixes, the Transformers we watched this year that he was in, and the Lord of the Rings movies that he appeared in. So thank you guys for making him my most watched actor.
Yes. Agent Elrond.
Yes. And I got to say, it tells you, it says, this is the film you rated the highest. And it had the highest consensus amongst Letterboxd users. So that it's letting you know, you did it, and other people feel this way. and the film that was. And it's so sad to me that it's not going to be in any of the conversations that Jacob was talking about because of what it is Bo Burnham's Inside.
Wow, yeah.
I think that's the singular greatest piece of art that was created this year.
Wow.
I think it sums up COVID in the way that none of us knew we were feeling about it and then instantly related to it. And of course, because of weird fucked up rules, it couldn't even win Best Original like TV movie at the Emmys. Like I think it went up only as like comedy special or something like that.
It went up as comedy special.
Right, because I guess it's considered like a stand-up special, even though it's
Yeah,
not
that's
really
that's my fault. I didn't consider it as a movie either. Whereas, Colin, that's
It's a character study of a comedian having to work during the pandemic. It's wild. And it's reflective.
And writing and creating, and in the way that I think that Jacob pointed out that it was cool to see the Beatles create something, it really is a log of like, this is a person creating like a meltdown or like a feeling. I wouldn't even know how to say it. And I'm so appreciative that it exists. And I know how
very depressing.
Yes, but we love him, and he's such an interesting creator that he's got a huge future ahead of him.
It serves as an island too. Like you're not the only one who feels isolated, right?
Yeah.
Kind of vibe.
Yeah. No, Goodbye from that show was my number 6th most listened to song of the year.
Oh,
amazing.
Wow. Incredible.
Here's the thing. I don't like that movie because Bo Burnham is so talented that it just makes me angry and jealous.
What he can do with
Fair,
nothing.
fair.
Yeah.
He can write songs. He's a great comedian, and then he makes this. It's like, come on, man, like that's not fair.
Some of his sense of framing
no,
is
that's a
so
great pick.
sharp because he directs too.
Yeah, like he plays the piano, like he can write songs. It's like, fuck you, man. Come on.
The color
can do it all.
on that. He edited everything about it. He
Yeah.
shot it in the Nightmare on Elm Street house. Did we ever point that out?
I didn't know
It's,
that.
I didn't know
it's
that.
the house that he rented. It's really weird.
Incredible.
Wow.
Wait till next Halloween.
Bo Burnham Wreck. If you've never watched Zack Stone is Going to Be Famous, it's on Netflix now.
Yes.
That was his short-lived
good as well,
MTV show. You should definitely check it out.
Very funny.
Nice.
I like that show. I liked his earlier stand-up specials on Netflix as well. Like, I think he's a comedic genius.
His career started when he's 19. Pretty good guy. So check that out.
Yeah.
Jacob, what's your favorite
Yes.
movie of the year? I'm not going to guess, but I know.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I thought this was actually a really good year for movies. I've seen a lot of movies that I've been really, positive on. Spider-Man, obviously. Just saw Licorice Pizza, which was, I think, one of the best movies I saw this year, and Power of the Dog. And there's still other Cruella. Sure. I mean, honestly, it's been a really good year for movies, and I still haven't even seen all the ones that came out this year that I want to see. So, but yeah, for me right now, I think it's got to be freaking Dune, man.
Yeah, Dune heads.
Like, real roundabout to get to for your DHs in the house.
Yeah.
he's a
Yeah, all you
Dune boy.
Dune heads. But
Do you
no,
love Timothy Chalamet?
I
do.
think he's all right. Yeah, I like him as a actor more than like Tom Holland so far. Like Tom Holland, I think is great as Peter Parker, but I haven't seen him really do anything else. But so if we're going for young, skinny white guys, I think I like Timothy Chalamet a little better.
He's more skinny too.
Not to start a rift.
Tom
between
Holland's
them.
a little.
He's whiter too.
He's
I
got too
don't
much
know.
muscle. Yeah, and he's whiter.
Who is the guy in West Side Story? Ansel Elgort? Like, can you imagine if we were stuck with more Ansel Elgort movies? No.
Right. I didn't see West Side Story. Oh, you did say it was the year of Zendaya, and as a fact, Zendaya is the highest grossing movie star of the year, mainly because she was in Spider-Man and Dune. So
Good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her.
and she's also
Great
in
for her.
Euphoria, a TV show that's very popular. So definitely,
Year of
she's
Zendaya.
everywhere right now. Yeah. But Dune, no, I thought it was great. I mean, it was exactly like Denis Villeneuve. Obviously, I was super excited when they announced it because I love Dune and I love Denis Villeneuve. And when they released the casting, I was like, oh, this casting is great. Like, they're nailing it. Like, Oscar Isaac as Duke Leto Atreides, like, fucking perfect, man. So, yeah, it's got to be Dune.
Nice.
Now,
nice.
Mike, I'm going to ask you now. I think it's a little obvious as well, just like Jacob's, what
we'll
your favorite
see.
movie of the year. So
Okay. Write it on your hand and then I'll check. So I enjoyed Spider-Man immensely. I was moved. I enjoyed Dune immensely. I love Bo Burnham's thing, but I think it is fairly obvious that Green Knight was my favorite movie of the
I
year.
totally even forgot about that one.
Yes,
That's
I
another
watched
one
it
that I liked a lot.
4 times, twice in theaters. It makes you
Amazing.
think. It makes you think. I love it. It's a work of art. A24, they did it. So yeah, I recommend that highly. Also, my fan edit of Godzilla and Kong was good.
Yeah, very true. But not a skinny white guy, we should point out. Dev Patel leading that is what makes that an awesome movie, I think. It could have very been Timothy Chalamet or something kind of uninspired.
And I saw him fight Robert Pattinson as a knight in a different movie, Timothy Chalamet, that whatever, the king or prince or whatever.
I saw that too, The King on Netflix.
Yeah. But yeah, Green Knight, I loved it. So now, last question. We ran longer than I thought we would, but a lot of big stuff coming out next year. Pick one thing that's releasing next year. Game, movie, TV show, book. Pick one thing. Throwing it to Joe first. One thing you're looking forward to for 2022.
The Batman.
Nice.
Big bad Batman.
That's good. Battinson. We just name dropped him, and here he is.
Yes.
Colin, one thing you're most looking forward to.
This is atypical, especially with what we've been covering. I'm going to stick with fantasy. It's not because I love this world. It is pure curiosity. Can 2022 save the Game of Thrones brand? I am excited for Blood and Dragons. What is it called, Jacob?
House of the Dragon.
Smoke on the Water.
House of the Dragons. yeah, pretty much.
Smoke on the Water.
It's interesting because they already had a different show that they shot a pilot for called Blood Moon with Naomi Watts was going to be in it, and they did not like the pilot, so they canceled that show, and now they're moving forward.
Not up to the standards of Game of Thrones is what the HBO creators have come out now and said. And so to say that this is...
Yeah,
well,
it's got Matt Smith, who was Doctor, one of the Doctor Who's. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I'm definitely excited for that as well. It's about the Targaryens in 100 years ago or so. So yeah,
gotcha.
Should be interesting.
That's an interesting poll, Colin. Jacob, though, what's your one thing you're most excited for next year?
That's a good question because I mean the two things that you guys just mentioned are probably one of those would be my answer, but I did just see the Batman trailer released recently, and I'm pretty excited about that.
It's not The Flash. Ezra Miller's The Flash isn't what you're most excited for, Jacob.
What about the Multiverse of Madness, Jacob? You're not excited about that? Peacemaker on HBO? Come
Peacemaker,
on.
I am excited
I'll check
for.
all those out.
There's a new Fantastic Beast film in the work. I know you're a big
Yeah,
fan.
we got the trailer for that.
The year of Jude Law, Jacob.
Bring back Johnny Depp. That's what I had to say about that.
Oh,
Secrets of Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it would have to be the Batman. I can't think of anything else right now that would top that.
Well, there's a couple...
Spoiler alert, he doesn't come back, Jacob, for the Harry Potter 20th anniversary.
Who?
So many other people do. Robert Pattinson. Doesn't it just bug you that, like, I know he's maybe the busiest, arguably, and I understand that franchise does not define him. You would think he could record a 2-second message that would be like, and all our wands say Harry to you, or some
Well, he didn't have that big of a part.
He didn't even show up at the event to talk about the Batman last year.
Really?
I truly think Robert Pattinson does not care.
No, he just does not care.
If I could get out of PR,
I
would.
hope not. Yeah, I hope he's
I shot the
living his
movie. I'm
best
gonna
life.
go home.
Yeah.
I just want him to be a fun guy. Just have fun. You don't have to be dark and brooding. Your parents aren't actually dead.
Well, what I've actually read about
him, he's got to be all Bruce Wayne all the time.
What I've read about him as a person, he seems like just a pretty chill guy who's just like
he loves to vape.
Yeah. I would be friends with him if he wanted to be friends with me.
You absolutely,
he's got an
out
album
of all
of
of
folk
us,
songs,
would be
dog.
friends with him. Yes,
got what?
That's true.
He's got like an album of folk songs.
Wow.
Like Robert Pattinson. Yeah.
Honestly, what I love about both him and Kristen Stewart is after Twilight, they both made the weirdest like movie choices, and I just got to respect that. Daniel Radcliffe too. He's made some offbeat choices, so got to have respect for those guys moving on from their franchise and doing weird indie films and stuff.
And also that horse on that stage too.
That's right, Equus. And speaking of Kristen Stewart, I haven't seen this movie Spencer that she's in, which is about Princess Diana. But I forgot to mention. So this is a roundabout way of saying this, but Johnny Greenwood, guitarist from my favorite all-time band Radiohead, also known as a film composer of soundtracks. He had a huge year. He did the soundtrack for Licorice Pizza, Power of the Dog, and this movie Spencer. So he's done 3 soundtracks this year. And Power of the Dog has a great soundtrack. It's very There Will Be Blood-esque. Yeah. So he's a busy guy, but I love him, and I love Radiohead.
Interesting.
Nice.
Just want to throw that out there.
Mike, what are you looking forward to in 2022? 2022.
So as the person who posed the question,
2020 also.
22.
I'm going to cheat now by saying there's a lot of good stuff coming out. Stuff like Thor, Love and Thunder, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Scream, Black Adam, all kinds of things. Sonic the Hedgehog, almost the number 1. But after the journey, and Elden Ring, but I'm going to do a movie. Because Joe changed my life essentially by getting the Halloween stuff going, and Halloween 3, and the whole Halloween saga. Like, I've become such a Michael Myers head. Halloween ends. Supposedly 22 is when it's going to drop. Hopefully it sticks. I'm most excited for that.
Wow.
Can you imagine
any superhero or
Evil
anything?
dies tonight.
Evil dies tonight. I've become such a Michael Myers fan. And go back and listen to that episode. I'm really looking forward to it.
Mike, I rewatched a little bit of Cobra Kai before the new season to be like, where was I? Let me put this on. And I saw those Vietnam flashbacks starring our boy, Anthony Michaels. Is that his name from Breakfast Club? Who's also in Halloween Kills as Evil Dies Tonight. I was like, Mike fucking loves this guy.
He's great. Anthony Michael Hall or something.
Anthony Michael Hall. Thank you.
That's
right. Anthony Edwards. Jesus.
Breakfast Club. I thought of one thing that's coming out next year that I'm very excited for. And before this episode reaches 2 hours, I just want to mention it. They are making
out of the studio in 2 hours.
Yeah, they are making
They're sweeping
a Dune RTS strategy game. So they're making a Dune RTS game, and I'm very excited to play that. And I will probably completely, forsake my social life and all responsibilities and just play that for 12 hours straight.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay.
They need
I'm most
crafting
excited
and
for
Halo.
Jacob's book report on Dune. That's the thing I'm looking forward to most in 2022 is
Cops Corner.
Get ready. I've been reading Colin.
I've been reading.
Yes.
Desert
all right.
Power.
Well, that is, I guess, the wrap up. Look forward. It's been a long one, guys, and that's because we're going to be taking a little break next week, and then we'll be back at it again. So, please, you get some rest, take care of yourself, and be healthy at home, as we'll be doing the same. And then coming back with more content 2022, kicking it off right. Normally we do these on the 10s, but this is, we just
I don't
rounded
think
down.
any of us
for
will
this next year?
survive till the end of it, honestly. God.
Yeah, we'll see. But here's the hoping 2020 also is better than the first 2 times that we've tried
2021,
this.
the sequel.
2022,
still
the
here.
Murder Hornets strike back.
Yes. I love
Don't
it.
forget, they're
COVID was bad. Now the
Something
Murder
like
Hornets
that.
have COVID.
And they sting
I
you with
read
it.
that they found a mysterious cube on the moon. And I think that's how one of the Transformers movies started. So I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm putting all my energy into Moon Cube now.
Yeah. I'm going to buy an NFT of Moon Cube too. All right. Well, I guess that's been it, guys. Thanks for going on this 2-hour journey of Whatchas. Apparently there's a lot to cover when you're only watching and talking about Lord of the Rings on the show. So.
That's right. Where do we find the time, guys? But we did, and we love you, Normies, because you found it too. Reach out. Tell us what you were watching. What was your favorite thing for the year? What you're looking forward to the most. You're going to tell us that at Normies_like_us on all socials. Go there. Send us a message. Rate, review, subscribe. That helps the show, helps us grow, helps us do more. And we'll keep trucking along for what I believe is our 5th season, Mike. Is that true? Can that possibly be true?
Wow.
Probably 17, I think,
Getting
is when we
old.
started. We're getting old.
Yep.
And if you're a Warner Brothers executive, go to the YouTube and watch that video where I look at you directly and hire me as a freelance
You
copywriter.
bastards.
Yeah.
That's right. Warner Bros. Is going to hire you.
We've been doing this for 5 years. Come on, 5 years
That's
experience.
right. Joe and I will just be bumps on the street.
Yeah, you're writing the scripts, man.
That's right.
I got the Amazing Spider-Man 3 already written, man.
That's right.
That's right.
I'm ready to go.
You're ready for that?
Story
next?
by
Yeah,
Jacob
yeah.
Evil, written by Colin and Joe. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
There
right.
you go.
Cool. And the copy for the posters will be by me. Thank you, listeners. Look forward to Amazing Spider-Man 3 done by us shortly. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah, this has been your host, Colin.
And Mike, my real name.
Joe.
And
Just
this is
Joe.
Baby New Year, aka Jacob19, aka the Jacob Cron variant.
All
Thanks,
right.
Normies.
Please be safe. And,
It's like Jacob
take care.
19.
Jacob 2. All right.
If
Take
you
care,
catch
everybody.
that one, you lose all sense of taste and you start to think
The
Start to think
bad
Rob
Halloweens are
Zombie
good.
Halloweens are
Halloween.
good.
Yeah, Rob Zombie Halloween's good.
Unfortunately.
There you go. There's the joke. Thanks, Jacob.
Yep, thanks, Jacob.
Bye.
Okay, 2 seconds before we get kicked out of the studio. I hope I don't get cut.